What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, November 10th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. A shitty night last night. I'm angry. I'm not getting enough sleep, capping the shit out of these cards, and I'm frustrated. I got off to a rough start to our NCAA basketball season. Thankfully, Maxwell Smart will be on the show once again to break down his best bets on the card. Yesterday, he focused on some marquee matchups. Today, it's just best bets from Maxwell Smart. We have Trot Wam joining us for the giant NBA card. I lost in NHL last night. Lost one game in a shootout. Lost one game in overtime. Frustrating. Thank God for Mr. Gogster, who in the chat broke down why he liked the first period under in Hurricanes Lightning, and it made so much sense. So thank God, or my night would have been a total disaster. Mr. Gokster is making equipment changes, so he's going to be a part of this show moving forward, and thank God for him. Thank God for you guys joining us here on this Wednesday. We had our big NFL show last night, put in 5 bets, back-to-back winning weeks for me in NFL, and I need to keep it going. Horse racing show tonight with razor-sharp picks. He's taking Harper to Disneyland after this, so this will be our last horse racing show for a while, so for about a week and a half, I believe. So join us tonight for horse racing. And let's get to work. Shout out to everybody joining us right now. We have Dan Kelly in the house. First round leader, Harry Higgs at plus 9,500. Look at that. Oh, 95 to 1. There's Fat Win. Haven't seen enough of him lately. Australia over 1.5 goals. Australia over 1.5 goals at plus 125. Asia World Cup third stage. All right. There it is. Fap Win in the house. Haven't seen enough Fap Win lately. Dan Kelly. Happy 246th birthday to the U.S. Marine Corps. Absolutely. Good call, Dan. Thank you for shouting that out. Nicholas Lee in the house. We have Toucan. Miles Bridges over 20.5 points is live for me. 9th in the league in offensive efficiency. Charlotte has the second most possessions per game. Memphis 28 in NBA team opponent shooting. Toucan coming in with Miles Bridges props, something that our very own Trot Wam has been all over so far this year. By the way, Trot Wam 7-2 plus 4.95 units with an average line of minus 102. Max got his account opened up on the show, going 2-4 last night. But I know Max. Max is going to have a giant bounce back spot today. And 2-4, it's early, very, very, very early. Here we go. Michael Evelina says, here to play tonight, -2 first half and 4 full game. Jazz broke up my triple up last night by hook in the first quarter after getting 1 million offensive rebounds and doing nothing with it. I cashed with the Bucks -6, and I said on the show I didn't want to bet totals anymore, and I still took the Sixers team total over. If you had told me the Sixers will score 19 points in the second quarter and 16 points in the fourth quarter, well, that's a casher, right? Casher, right? Not a fucking casher. I would yell right now, but my son is peacefully sleeping in the other room. He doesn't know that Daddy had a shit night. Michael Evelina in the house. Henry Dice at Young Chillionaire. Eric Jones ready to go. JM says here to make that cash. My car needs repairing. Says Nashville is a lock. Oh no. I think Nashville's a weak hockey team, and the Stars are going to roll. So we're going heads up in that spot. Eric Jones ready to get to work. Eric Jones says, be careful with college basketball. No one has an edge yet. I wouldn't tell anyone yet. I disagree. From watching Max work now for this is a 5th year, his biggest edge is the beginning of the year because he caps all year long. He works on it all year long. So he's his most profitable right now because the markets haven't caught up. So I don't have an edge in college basketball. But someone who caps it all year, I believe, really does. And I know you just want the best for us, Eric Jones. That's why you're saying that. 586 Soldier ready to go, giving a happy birthday to the Marines. There's a Schnizzle. 4-0 day. Look at that. 7-1 in the last 8. That makes me very happy, Schnizzle. $5 unit in the house. Dennis Trusty says, I overslept by about 2 hours, so I have a lot of work to catch up on. Johnny K in the house. Danny Lopez, Puzzler. My guy Puzzler. There's Nuke Worker coming to us live from Darlington Nuclear. There's Kevin Riley. I don't know if there's a hotter capper out there right now than my man Kev Riley. Cab Viper said NBA saved me. There's Jeff Arp. Jeff Arp, my poker buddy and a producer of our For the Love of Balls comedy show. The new episode dropped yesterday. There's Jeff Arp in action right now. James ready to get to work here. Michael Ervalina. All right, time and Razor Sharp picks. There he is right now. Cashed another. God, this guy just cashed a $1,000 pick 5 last night. Posted on Twitter 45 minutes before the first race. Hope some people cashed. Another extra K to take Harper to Disneyland. Razor Sharp picks. And sorry, my camera's fucking up. Jesus, there we go. Clicks in. I've got downloaded a new operating system, so I'm having some problems with the camera right now, and I apologize for that. Nutflush Allen, Sebastian A, JM, North Ender, both NHL Sprinkles, Cash, Red Wings, and Tampa Bay, Carolina overtime. Beautiful looks. And Carl Broberg, hugely successful trainer, will be on tonight's horse racing show. There's the sweaty Butcher ready to get to work. Nicholas Lee says, can I ask you a question about the Wild? Are they just a monster under team on the road or just a slight trend to the start of the season? That's a very good question, Nicholas Lee. Well, the first thing you look at when, a team is following a certain standard, home or road, is it to do with coaching? And Dean Evison is one tough dude, not a big dude, but a tough dude. And he expects a certain amount of accountability. And coaches who are tough like that, Rick Tocchet, who's no longer coaching in the league right now, Rod Brindamore, they always demand a certain type of game style on the road that's a little different than at home. So it's a very interesting point, Nicholas Lee. And it has me thinking. We're going to break down that game today. I'm already on the Minnesota Wild -1.5 with Birdie. Birdie's on that as well, +125. Very interesting question, Nicholas Lee, that will take more time, more thought here. Slatsy says Canadian teams 0-6 in the NHL last night. Billy Friedrich, Leafs, Flyers, first period, under 1.5 goals. Two teams are 3-7 to the under first period, last 10. The Flyers have had 5 straight unders, Billy. So you're absolutely right there. The Leafs have this 1-and-out road game, and I like that for older teams. I think that it's pretty easy to harness all your energy into one game and then know you're coming back home. So I moved on the Leafs. There's Birdie in the house. Michael Ervalina says my biggest edge in NCAA is actually for actual caps is the first few weeks. Yeah, I agree, Michael Ervalina. I agree. There's Durko Gaming in the house, shouting out the Cupcake King. Cupcake King will be here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. He's going to take Friday off of our show. He'll still do his show, and then he's going to be on all next week. We're going to have tons of college basketball here on the channel. Eric Nisbet says Kansas and Duke was easy money last night. Great job. Dav Fence says Kansas was to play Michigan State was a bad call on opening night, not trying to browbeat. Wish I hadn't tailed that one. Look, Dav Fence, they're not all going to be winners. There's Trot Wam, who will be joining us shortly here. Dan Kelly says, I don't get the Wiz Cavs line. I can't figure it out. Yes, Sexton is out, but Okora is in, says that's a wash. Cavs should be a 4-point fave. I can't wait to talk about that game. I believe that's first up when we get into NBA. There is Nutflush Allen says, have you ever done something for 12 hours and you can hear the same sound in your ear? It's over. I keep hearing Razor yelling. I get it too. I get Razor flashbacks these days as well. There's that boy Cold, Tyrone Coleman ready to go. Well, let's get to work. Matty Ice, what a gorgeous call on Taint. Very upsetting that I didn't tail it. I know how you eat in college basketball. I should have just been on it. I was not on it. And but spectacular call, Matty Ice. All right, it is time to get to work. We got Jose on the 1s and 2s backstage. Shout out to my producer who does such a great job. He'll be taking over, highlighting the chat. And let's get to work. Let me pop out the chat on my end and move over to my account instead of Pub Sports Radio, so you guys know. So when Pub Sports Radio has a comment, that will be Jose. When I have a comment, it'll come right from the Jimmy the Bag account. All right, let's get this rolling. Let's get to work right now. Thank you guys for joining us. We started 7:30 p.m. Toronto Maple Leafs 7-5-1, 1-3-0 on the road at Philadelphia Flyers 6-2-2, 3-1-1 at home. We're at Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Jack Campbell really turned his young season around with that 5-game winning streak that the Leafs had. 6-3-1, 2.09 goals against average, 929 save percentage, 1 shutout. Carter Hart having a bounce back year, and thank God. That was a rough year for him last year. You never want to see a goaltender go through that. If he really is an elite goaltender, maybe it'll be. I shouldn't compare him to Doc Holliday, but Doc Holliday had 6 ERA one year, and then the next year he came back and was nominated for the Cy Young. Hopefully Carter Hart has a similar situation like that. Leafs 24.3% power play, 85% penalty killing. Flyers 21.4% power play, 82.9% penalty killing. Osby is on the Flyers, Johnny K on the Flyers, and Dennis Garcia is also on Philly. Here we go. And Taint play of the day is in. Northern Colorado plus 2.5. I repeat, Taint play of the day is in. We will talk about that spot when we break down NCAA basketball with our Maxwell Smart. Here we go. Taint play of the day is in. It is Northern Colorado plus 2.5. Northern Colorado plus 2.5. Nicholas Lee also on Flyers and the under. I'm the only one here on the Toronto Maple Leafs at this time. We'll see if that changes. Leafs had their 5-game winning streak snapped in an ugly 5-1 loss at home versus the Kings. As I said, I love the one-and-done road trip for veteran teams. Come in, play great, go home. Johnny Tavares missed practice Tuesday. He'll be a game-time decision in Philadelphia on Wednesday, banged up after Monday's game. But that was a big goal he scored, and he needed it. And he needs to heat up. I certainly expect him to be in the lineup. Flyers come in off an impressive 2-1 win at Washington on Saturday night. They played to 5 straight unders, as I said. Ryan Ellis, still a possibility to play Wednesday. Both Ellis and Kevin Hayes are getting close. Hayes, by the way, is eligible to come off long-term injured reserve today. It looks like he's going to be back in the lineup on Tuesday. I really think that we should watch when Kevin Hayes plays his first game with the team. After everything he went through this summer with his brother's death, I think when he walks in and laces up the skates to play, the Flyers are going to win that game. So let's keep an eye out for when he is back in action. I bet the Toronto Maple Leafs under this year, but I do not think the Philadelphia Flyers are a very good team. I think they have a very good coach, and he's coaching them to play defensive, accountable hockey, and that's what they've done for the last 5 games. And they're coming off winning a big division battle on the road, and now they're coming home. So what have we seen recently from teams who win a big divisional game and then sit there for 4 days or 5 days? We just saw the Oilers lose 4-2 to the Red Wings. The Flyers haven't played since that win on Saturday night. That was a big, big win. In retrospect, I probably should have just taken the Leafs first period. And I almost doubled up on this spot by adding the Leafs first period. What do you want in the first period bet? You want a team that's coming off a 5-1 loss going up against a team that's playing good hockey, coming off a big win that's been sitting there for 4 or 5 days doing nothing. The Leafs opened up at minus 126. They're now at minus 127, so a 1 cent move towards them. We're going to get over to the total here in a second. This total opened up at 6 juice to the under. It's now 6 juice to the over. And another thing that came up was after 5 straight unders, you're going to take another Flyers under. I understand that when Ryan Ellis is back in the lineup that their power play will start hitting. What is their power play doing right now anyways? 21.4%, nothing wrong with it. But the phrase we talk about all the time that Guillermo Zertucci brought to the show, are you going to be late to the party and early to the funeral? 5 straight unders and you're going to bet an under here with the Flyers? It's fucking dangerous, man. Here we go. 42% of the tickets on the Flyers and 79% of the cash money line on the Philadelphia Flyers on the home dog. Then you have 36% of tickets on the under and 75% of cash on the under. Market moving towards the over. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Birdie says Leafs money line. Get it now. Leafs off a horrible loss. Money all on the Flyers, and the line still climbing to the Leafs. Caution on the Flyers if you're backing them. Dennis Garcia says veteran teams. You mean teams with character, which the Leafs have none of? No, I don't feel that way. I don't think it. Look, I don't like the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't think they're that good of a hockey team. But Johnny Tavares is a character, veteran guy who is the leader of this hockey team. Certainly not the best player of this hockey team. And this team goes as far as Austin Matthews will take them. And Mitch Marner hasn't been very good this year. But yeah, I think this is a perfect spot for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Perfect. And look, I loved my card yesterday. I loved my card on the Canucks -1. They came back, scored 2 late goals, and broke my heart in overtime with chance after chance after fucking chance. I love the Winnipeg Jets, up 2-1, going 5 minutes left in the third, and then losing a shootout. So just because I love a situation doesn't mean we're going to cash. But I think this is a perfect spot for the Leafs. And everybody here is on the Flyers, and it looks like we'll be going heads up against each other. And, that happens. Troy Noak says Ellis potentially back today. Yes, he is. And here we go. North Ender says, I'm not sure the Leafs should be -140 here. I don't know. Have they gone to -140? Because I don't know if they should be -140 here. But if they are -140, and the market is making it that much more appealing, no, they're -130. So that's where I got them. So there's been no change there. Okay, let's get back to work. Yeah, -130. And Michael O'Brien says Anaheim Ducks, baby. Yeah, that hurt. And Dennis Garcia said, I hated my NHL guard, went 4-0. Definitely means fade me today. Okay, Mike M says starting to fall now -130 on my book. Interesting. Let's just see what the market move is being at Pinnacle, because I do not believe this has started to fall. I have not seen any sign of that. Oh, you're right, I guess. At 7:47 a.m. At 7 a.m., they went up to -133. Then -132, -131. Then down to -123 at 9:22 a.m. And now it's climbing back up to -127. All right. So, look, what did I tell you guys a week and a half ago? That the Leafs were bet on. Start betting them. And they win 5 straight. Now they lose 5-1 in Philadelphia. Look, I get it. You want to have home dogs on your card. I completely understand it. You will be more successful to have these slight home dogs on your card. But I'm on the Leafs here. Brian Hunt says, like the under Nashville game, anyone else riding with that? Let's roll on. I see some danger showing up in the studio here. It looks like we might have a NHL Say Hey play of the day coming up. Which game can you drop in? Oh, Jesus, we do right now. So I believe it is Nashville Predators, Dallas Stars. Please welcome to the show, Jose Bouquet, ladies and gentlemen, fresh off his triple up. Jose, how are you?
Jimmy, I'm doing well. Can't complain. The UTSA Roadrunners are ranked. Shout out to them. But it's all about hockey today.
It is, sort of. We have about a 30-game card here on the show, and 3 hockey games are on it.
Oh, Jim, I've got so much work, Jim. You have no idea. So this is going to be a fun day.
Okay.
By the way, Jim, since we're talking about hockey, sticky puck, I wanted to let you know my play is actually in Toronto and Philadelphia. The Flyers, eh? I'm taking the Maple Leafs. I'm riding with you, Jim. I believe in them. I'll take them full game, money line, no problem. I believe in the boys. Jim, you've been to the No? You've been to the 6, the big naughty No. You smelt that air. You know what it's like, Jim.
It doesn't smell very good here.
It smells fucking fantastic. It smells great. You can go see your bums on the street there too, just like in America. And guess what?
What?
Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, and all those boys, they're getting the dub tonight.
Just get that mask back on. A sap. Get it on. Jesus, are you hideous this morning? Maple Leafs money line for Jose. Let's line shop for him. But yeah, it fucking stinks out here. This lake's full of Canadian goose shit. All the lawns are full of Canadian goose shit. They're either pigeon shit or Canadian goose shit. It's your choice here in beautiful Toronto. Okay, we're gonna line shop for our Jose Bouquet. We can get you a -127 at Pinnacle. Does that sound right to you?
Of course, Jim. That's what it's all about. We've got this today. Me and you, arm in arm.
I don't know what the fuck is going on here. Okay, let's just pull out. Our guy Jose's record right now, fresh off that triple up, which makes him a winning capper, which means he can do whatever the fuck he pleases on this show. That's what winner cappers are allowed to do. 57 and 57 plus 1.34 units, ROI plus 1.18%, average line plus 101. Jose, spectacular work here. We ride together on the Leafs. And you're running hot, so I feel okay about this. Any last words before we head into the Predators-Stars game?
Well, Jim, I'll tell you, a winning strategy tonight for those Leafs, they got to get pucks in deep. They got to cycle around. We got to play dirty in the areas, And I really think that my guy, Austin Matthews, is about this time, eh? I think he really gets it done. And how about he scores a little hat trick today for the boys, eh? How about it? How about the American? How about he does it, eh? How about it?
How fucking about it? There he is, Jose. Say hey, play of the day on the Toronto Maple Leafs minus 127, and he did handle the A's appropriately. That wasn't too many. He fired off a few too many, maybe late in the segment, but nice job. Mark Schlimberg says, did he switch to a Boston accent in the middle? JM says Nashville money line. Let's get to work right now. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Nashville Predators 6-5-1, 3-2-1 on the road at Dallas Stars 4-5-2, 1-1-1 at home. American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. I have UC Saros 5-4-1, 2.31 goals against average, 925 save percentage. A good goalie. Going up against Braden Holtby 2-3-1, 2.46 goals against average, 924 save percentage. And you know what? I was thinking about Holtby. I was going over his numbers. I shot all over him last year. I faded him almost every time he started with the Canucks. And I kind of went back to that Mike Smith year. He was with the Yotes. He had a great career over there. He has a couple bad seasons. He shipped up to Calgary. He has a bad season. And then he goes to Edmonton and has a really good season. And maybe, he's not that old. I was surprised when I looked at his age. Maybe he's capable of continuing this when I did not think that was the spot earlier. Robert Allen says your boy got the day off work, had to get opening day of college basketball off, couldn't take it. Nice job. Welcome back. North Ender says Predators are my kryptonite. They kill me when I fade them. And Dan Kelly has the say hey a play of the day as the he's liking what he's hearing. All right, Predators power play at 27%. Roman Josi is a spectacular power play quarterback, and you have players like Matt Duchene and Ryan Johansson. You should have a good power play. Not a good hockey team, because those guys have just shown that they have, the tiniest fucking little heart imaginable. But 27% power play, 81.4% penalty killing. The Stars 28.6% power play. It's going to go higher. This will be a 30% plus power play this year. They have so much talent. And their penalty killing at 74.4% is just not enough. It's just not good enough here. I've moved on every game here, and Dallas Stars is one of them. They opened up at minus 141. They're now at minus 150. I got the Stars at minus 145 and at plus 170 on a minus one line. And North Ender says 0-4 in Pred sides this year. That's the same with me and the Vancouver Canucks. And not only that, I'm 0-4 when I bet on them, and 0-1 on a total with them involved. So, oh fuck, man, it makes me see. It's just, it gives me a seething anger. Like, just is one thing about me. Everyone close to me knows I don't raise my voice in conversation. I don't raise my voice. I yell on shows with you guys, and I yell. And I scream when we win bets, but that's the only time I do it. And right now, I'm starting to sweat because I have just seething fucking anger about the state of my Vancouver Canucks.
By the way, that's not even true. You yell at me all the time. That's not true.
I don't know if I really raise my voice. I'm not a guy who I don't yell except when the horses are in play. Nicholas Lee said this game would be a pass. It's not a pass for me because I think this Dallas Stars team is an extremely talented hockey team. Yes, they're sitting here 4-5-2. I don't know if I trust their coaching. I don't trust their goaltending. But their forward group and Heiskanen on the point is very strong. And Piker says yelling at Jose doesn't count. Again, that's we're yelling on the show. I wouldn't if Jose and I were out, I wouldn't be.
You yell at me. You yell at me off screen too. Don't lie to the people. You don't lie to the people. You're like, you showed my wrong record, and then he hits me too.
Thank you. We've never even been in the same room together. Nashville comes in off a 2-1 loss at Chicago on Sunday night. Nick Cousins dealing with an upper body injury. Cousins regarded as week to week, placed on injured reserve. Mark Borowiecki, upper body. He practiced on Tuesday. Look, Borowiecki is not going to ever impress you with Corsi numbers or anything, but I tell you what, he is a big boy, and Nashville needs size badly. They used to have a ton of it. Philip Forsberg continues to be on injured reserve. He's week to week. The Stars come in off an ugly 6-3 loss at Vancouver on Sunday night. This is, in my estimation, oh, wow, it's down to a pick'em now. Matty I says that they ain't play today, down to a pick'em now. Brady says my NHL card today, Wild -1.5, and a single parlay Leafs money line, Wild -1.5, and Pred Stars tie after regulation. I think that this is a must-bet spot on the Dallas Stars. Robertson is rolling. Rupi Hintz is, off the schneid. He's going to get hot. Radulov, we're talking about a team that's already getting nice play out of Ben and Sagan. This Stars team, this reminds me of, I guess it's not the same as the Leafs because the Leafs are going on the road. But let's say the Leafs lose 5-1 in LA and then go up to play San Jose. Now, again, the travel's a bit of a pain, losing 6-3 in Vancouver and then flying down to Dallas. But I love this spot for the Dallas Stars, and I'm all over them. Let's see what the cash flow is in this spot with Dallas here. 1,349 tickets in. Oh, we don't know the cash yet. We just know that 64 of the money line tickets are on Dallas. 70% of tickets are on the over. I don't dislike the over. What is that over at here? Let's just see it. Would they give us a 5.5? See if they give us a 5.5. They do give us 5.5. Look how juiced it is to the under. Wow. Look at that. Jesus. God, look at that. You're going to give me a plus 115 on the over? Dallas, I guess they did just give up 6 goals on the road, and they probably tightened shit up. Okay. Jeff Arms says yet another assault scandal. Get in line. Okay. I guess I have interest in this over. Will Holt be in net? I know the Predators are going to score a couple goals. And I think the Dallas Stars are going to heat up. You're going to give me that big of a plus line? No, North Ender, we haven't. I have some interest in this over. A tiny bit of interest in this over. Michael O'Brien, thank you for the very, very kind words. Let's hope that turns into cashers for us. And I'm angry about what happened last night. All right, let's move on to 10 p.m. Eastern, and then we're going to head into NBA. Minnesota Wild 8-3-0, 4-2-0 on the road to Arizona Coyotes 1-10-1, 1-3-0 at home. We're at Gila River Arena in Glendale, Arizona. Kaapo Kahkonen has looked awful this year, and it's uncomforting. It's uncomforting when you bet a team on the -1.5 line. I know they're going to have to score. Kaapo Kahkonen has a perfect opportunity here to get right. Going up against Karel Vejmelka, 0-7-1, 2.84 goals against average, .913 save percentage. This Wild power play at 17.7%, penalty killing at 75.6%. That's not a Dean Evison type team. I imagine that penalty killing will improve. The Coyotes, 10.7% power play, 65.8% penalty killing. Brady says Stars 6 games from going on a huge run. You can see them getting better and better, and you can see them getting to game speed. Stars will roll here very soon. Bishop gets back. Look out. JM's on the Wild in regulation. We took the -1.5, although I do definitely vouch for that. Alexito in the house says easy soccer treble today. Paranense, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Atletico Mineiro and Palmeiras. Home wins in Brazil. Thank you for sharing that with us, Alexito. Dennis Garcia says Dallas isn't any good. He's just trying to rile me up, and it's not going to work, Dennis. It's not going to work because I know that the Stars are really good. And you set up a bet for us. You set up a point total. You set up a bet. I'd be happy to throw a sawbuck on that shit. All right. Jerry B says, is Dallas puck line worth a look? I'm on it. I'm on it at plus 125. Minnesota's won 3 straight, coming off a 5-2 win at home to the Islanders on Sunday night. They're going to have Jordan Greenway back. He was at practice yesterday, 6'6", very important part of the piece in the puzzle. He got hurt on October 28th. Coyotes coming off their first win of the season. They still have no Schmaltz and Zingle. Alex Galchenyuk did. They thought he might be back at practice yesterday. He's not back at practice. Yes, Dennis Garcia, take your time. Let's just take a look at this, where the cash lies in this spot here. 1,765 tickets in, 92% of the tickets, 97% of the cash on Minnesota, 41% of tickets on the under, 99% of cash on the under. Really small sample size right now. There's Nuke Worker. Thank you for hanging out with us, my man. Big shout out to everybody up at Darlington Nuclear. Respect. Johnny K says, tough to play in Philly. I don't know. Really? I don't know. We have a vividness of the Broad Street Bully days. I don't know. Nicholas Lee says, this is my super feeling on this card. Wild on the puck line and the under. I don't know what we are going to get from the Coyotes defensively. And I don't know what Vejmelka is going to do as the games move forward. And if he tries or is the number one goalie here in Coyotes, I cannot vouch for the Coyotes keeping the puck out of their net at this point, but I don't dislike it. Michael O'Brien says, crazy when everybody in the grandma says Boston is going to kill Ottawa and they barely win. I did not say that, Michael O'Brien, and I should have cashed on the under, because I said with the players that the Ottawa Senators are missing, we know exactly how DJ Smith is going to coach this game. Nobody's going to pinch. They're not going to give the perfection line any odd man rushes. We're going to play a really tight, conservative game, and we're not going to give them any space. And that's exactly what they did. Henry Dice says, wild games seem to be over. Billy Friedrich says, Pred Stars over 1.5 first period. You know what? I may end up on that over 5.5 at huge plus money. I find that appealing. I may end up on that. Okay, there you go. Those are the 3 spots in NHL. I made a bet on all of them. Leafs -1 at plus 120, Stars -1 at plus 110, Wild -1.5 at plus 125, and I have interest in this over 5.5 at plus 115 in Nashville, Dallas. The only problem is that Dallas just allowed 6 goals. If they hadn't, I might do it. All right, there you go. That is NHL. We move on to NBA, and we bring in our NBA expert coming to us live from Long Beach, California, and he has been white hot on the show. 7 wins, 2 losses, plus 4.95 units, average line -102, and he joins us on Wednesdays. And on Wednesdays, we have these enormous cards for him to break down. We make him work for it. Please welcome to the show a man we all love, legend in the low bag circles. Welcome to the show, Trot Wam in the house. Wham Bam, how are you?
My guy, Jimmy, you already know, bro. Feeling good to be here. Happy to be here. It's Wham Talk Wednesday. Happy Wham Talk Wednesday to the people out there. Giant 13 slate today, man. Let's get to this shit, bro. Let's get to it. We got a backwood day sometime. My guy, like my guy Dutch will say, it's some backwoods in here. I don't know if we're going to have too many opinions on OKC, but let's go ahead and talk about it.
There's Guillermo Zertucci in the house. Great to see you, G. Man, the Breeders' Cup was so enjoyable. So nice. Enjoyable. Schnizzle, I use Sports Insights for all my tickets and cash and totals. It's expensive, but if you could find a few different guys to go in and, share the password and that shit. All right, let's move on to NBA right now. 7 p.m. Eastern, Wham Bam. You are running hot. One thing that is working for you, Wham, is you have these giant cards to work with every Wednesday, and so you don't reach. You don't reach at all. You're waiting for your spots. You're only moving on a couple games. You're seeing things real clearly right now, and we believe.
I'm coming off an 0-2 day too, so shit. It's only way it is up right now. But you said it though.
Certainly wasn't 0-2 on this show. Maybe we bring out the best in you, Wham Bam.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it.
Let's get to work. We start with Washington Wizards, 7-3, 2-2 on the road at Cleveland Cavaliers, 7-4, 2-1 at home. We're at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. We got Dan Kelly and Schnizzle, cappers that know this Cavaliers team inside and out, rolling with us right now. It's great to have them. Let's get to work. All right, move over to spreads and totals, and then the cash flow, and then set a table here for Wham Bam. The Wizards open up as 4.5-point favorites. They're now 3-point favorites. This total opened up at 211.5 and is now at 209. When we go over to the cash flow, we have 3,934 tickets in. 61% of the tickets are on the Cavs. 64% of the cash is on the Cavs, and we see the market moving towards the Cavs. Then you have 58% of the tickets on the over, 85% of cash on the over, and a 2-point drop down to 209. Very interesting. Cavaliers looking to keep the winning streak going despite losing Colin Sexton to a meniscus tear in his left knee in that 126-109 win over the New York Knicks on Sunday. Rubio and Okoro going to see a ton more action. Rubio averaging a team-leading 16. Well, Rubio coming off a monster game.
Got to talk about that.
37 points, 8 threes, and, he's a pass-first point guard. He's everything that Sexton isn't. Isaac Okoro also going to be getting action after sitting out 7 games with strained left hamstring. Jared Allen coming off being named Eastern Conference Player of the Week, averaging 20.5 points, 16.3 boards over that stretch. Evan Mobley, 26 points, 9 boards, 5 assists on Sunday. This front court looks menacing. Washington off to their best start since 2014-15. Bradley Beal on Sunday goes for 30 points, 14 of 22 shooting in that 101-94 victory over the Bucks. He's shooting 53.4% from the floor in his last 4 games with 25 assists, 17 boards. He's rolling. Kyle Kuzma coming off a double-double. Montrezl Harrell coming off 15 points. Here we go, Wham Bam. First game on the card. Wizards, Cavs, take it away.
Yeah, I want to make a comment to. Well, I want to shout out Dan Kelly. He said this line should be -4 for the Cavs here, without Sexton here, because just how hot these teams are. Both of these teams have been pretty hot. 7-3 ATS for the Wizards, been pretty much caught us by surprise. We didn't expect them to be this good this early. The Cavs, I kind of expect them to play well. They were on a roll. They had a tough schedule to start off. For them to start off 8-3 is very, very impressive. Colin Sexton being out, I'm not really necessarily worried about it, especially Rubio coming off of a big game like that. But like you would say, though, Jimmy, when these guys have these career high days, they kind of come back to earth the very next game. So I want to shift my attention towards Darius Garland in this game. Without Sexton, he's averaging 19.8 points per game last year, 8.3 assists. You're starting to see his assists go from 5.5 to start the season to now where we're seeing at 8.5 on the prop market. I do like this guy to go over this total, even with the high adjustment there with the books. I think Darius Garland continues to play really well without, having to worry about Sexton, even though they haven't been running that same type of offense that they run last year with a lot of ISO with Sexton. They've been passing the ball a lot lately. I think that this guy is going to be having an uptick in usage, uptick in points and production. So I would look toward him in any props. But I think the best prop here is going to go back to my good old buddy Kyle Kuzma here. Over 1.5 threes. It's juiced up here, but I believe he's been balling out. Let's see if we could get a nice number here, and I'm going to look for that right now. But I got it in at -120. I thought that was just crazy. Obviously went up since then. I think it's at -140 now. I don't want to put this as official record, just like you said, +102 average line. I kind of don't want to make this official record, but I do think this will hit Kyle Kuzma over threes here. The Wizards, they're number 1 in opposing 3-point percentage, so they've actually been stopping people from playing shooting pretty much properly there in this streak that they're on. So I do understand why the number is showing where it is right now, but this game is kind of a pass for the side because I could see a case for both teams. You definitely want to look into the Cavs. If you're going to take the Cavs, you want to take them early. They have been covering every game in the house, 3 games so far at home in the first half, and I believe they're 8-2 in the last 10 games in the first half for the Cavs. I would look there, but anything here, but for me, it's going to be Kyle Kuzma. Kyle Kuzma over 3 is something I already put in at -120. I don't know if you're going to be able to get that there. I think right now, if you're getting it from FanDuel, they're going to give you a -160. So it's kind of suck ass right there. But that's probably the only way I would look in this game. Other than that Cavs first half, I like the Cavs first half as well, but I haven't bet that.
Very interesting breakdown. So Kuzma over 1.5 threes, but not an official pick. Interested in the Cavs first half. Big shout out to Joshua Keo Kanlaya. Got the new job. Congratulations. You deserve it. Respect, my man. And great way to finish off this year that's been pretty difficult. So I'm very happy to hear that, my man. Schnizzle says, I'm on the Cavs at home plus the points. I think they bought into the system. Everyone playing hard. I personally want to see what Garland can do without Sexton. I'm higher on Garland than Sexton, says Schnizzle. Astute Chaos says the total is tricky to me with the Wizards playing great defense and Cleveland playing physical defense. Dennis Garcia says Cleveland for me too. So Cleveland available right now at +3. Let's just see when the market has moved on this. Put this up here. Wow. So last night, 5:14 p.m., you could have gotten a +4.5. That lasted for 2 minutes. 2 minutes moves down to 4. That lasted for 5 minutes until it went to 3.5. Then at 3.5, it was there for 15 hours. It moved to 3 this morning at 8:42 a.m.
The worst thing that the Cavs does is turn over the ball over the last 5 games. They're ranked 29th in turnover percentage. The freaking Washington Wizards, that's the worst thing that they could do. They don't force turnovers. They're ranked dead last in turnover percentage for opponents. So they really can't take advantage of this. I would agree with the line movement, bro. I like the Cavs here. If the next play, like I said, will be Cavs first half, but if you're looking for a prop here, it's got to be Darius Garland. Again, he's averaging 8.3 assists without Sexton. It's at 6.5 at FanDuel at even money. That's probably the addition that I would make if we're going to make an addition in this game.
All right. Keon Jackson, are you on Twitter? As I would prefer to tell you, the only site I really want to talk about on this show ever is Pub Sports Radio. That's it. So I'd prefer to tell you privately on Twitter. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7 p.m. Eastern, Brooklyn Nets at Orlando Magic. Nets 7-4, 3-2 on the road. Magic 3-8, 1-4 at home. We're at Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. We have Brooklyn opening up as 9-point favorites and no movement. There's been a 7-cent move towards Brooklyn. They open up -9, -105. They're now -9 and -112. The total opens up at 209.5. It's now at 211. So a 1.5 move towards the total. Okay, cool, Keon. Yeah, just tag me. I'll follow you. Then we can do all that. Next up here we have the cash flow, 3,732 tickets in, 79% of the tickets, 81% of the cash on Brooklyn. And no real movement towards them. 70% of the tickets on the over, 25% of cash on the over. So big bets coming in on the under, and it's moved up 1.5. Very interesting. Orlando outscored Utah 32-15 in the fourth to win 107-100 on Sunday. Now, there was no Conley. But Cole Anthony was questionable to play, and he stepped up and was a monster. Season high 33 points. Wendell Carter Jr. went 22 and 15. 4 straight double-double. They're still without Michael Carter-Williams, Etuan Moore, Markelle Fultz, and Jonathan Isaac. So Orlando destroyed in the fourth quarter, while Brooklyn did the exact opposite. In Monday's 118-95 loss to the Bulls in Chicago, they lost. They were outscored 42-17 down the stretch. Had their 5-game winning streak snapped. Durant tied a season high with 38. LaMarcus Aldridge went for 19 and 7 rebounds. Amazing to see him try in the paint. You know, there's not a lot of NBA basketball players that I would feel confident enough to open hand slap in the face and then stare at them. Aldridge, maybe. 2 blocks.
I heard you say that before. That's what makes it funny.
I don't know what I think he might just say, I'm going to go take a nap. Right. James Harden went 3 for 7 from 14 points. He's just not rolling. And Chicago starters completely outplayed Brooklyn starters 85-63. This Brooklyn Nets team is one tricky ass cap. Take it away, Wham, Nets Magic.
I mean, both of these teams are fucking tricky, bro. 4-7 ATS for the damn Orlando. I mean, if you've been fading them, you cast 7 times. I guess you've been doing right. But if you've been fading Brooklyn, you're still making a little bit of profit. They 5-6 ATS. This team is freaking very interesting here. One of the weirdest things here, and maybe it's just something about Orlando that brings the worst out of people or something, but Orlando in the last 5 games are ranked number 3 in opposing points per game. So they're allowing opponents third lowest in the league over the last 5 games. Also, they're number 2 in opposing opponents' 3-point percentage at 27% over the last 5 games. So they've been playing good defense on the perimeter as well. It's kind of very strange here because the first thing I thought about was taking James Harden over 3 prop and taking Joe Harris. I had cashed that last one against the Bulls. Luckily, I didn't take the side there, man, because I really like the freaking Brooklyn Nets. But like you said, tough ass fucking cap, bro. If you're taking the 3-point props though for James Harden, he's cashed 7 times in a row over 2.5. So it's kind of the reason why it's juiced at -130. But again, it's not Kuzma -160, man. That's why I like Kuzma a lot more. But this guy, I think this was a good spot. But I mean, again, it kind of gives me a little worried here because the reason for me taking the Bulls, against the Bulls last game, was they're really bad against the 3. This team is the other way around. They're playing really well. So it's kind of like hard for me to take that there. And as far as the side or the total, I just don't know what I'm going to get out of this game, man. I think this is probably the first backwood that we have for today. I just don't think we're going to be able to get any edge here for taking Brooklyn, because you want to take Brooklyn in the smash spot because this team is bad as far as Orlando. And I actually wrote this down before the line came out. I thought this line would be at 12 for Brooklyn. So it's actually a little bit – I should be taking Brooklyn here, but I'm going to stay away.
See, the Magic are just going to keep coming at you, sort of like the Thunder. And it makes me think, like, this is enough points. You know, a lot of love for the Carter double. I was just popping up all the comments. There's a ton of great comments. Kevin Riley on Orlando +9 and the over 211. Treat Hart Mills on Brooklyn first half -5.5. Ray Charles gave out that Carter Jr. double at +135. Like that getting love here. And Piker says Orlando girls have neck tats. Okay, at least they don't. At least it's not the limping capital of America.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's better than OKC though. Better than OKC.
Nets Magic looks like a stay off spot for our Trot Wam, but
I like that Carter double though. That makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
I want to. I kind of have some interest in Orlando here.
I understand it though, but honestly, I would say it's fucking Orlando, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you've been fading them, you're making money. You know, it's kind of tough, bro.
Yeah, and that was just their first victory at home. And okay, I'm just gonna leave that as question marks here. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Raptors 6-5, undefeated on the road at Boston Celtics 4-6, 0-3 at home. TD Garden, Boston, Massachusetts. So October 22nd, Toronto went into Boston and kicked the shit out of them. And 115-83. It was the Celtics' worst loss of the season. And I wonder what kind of payback the Celtics are capable of without Jaylen Brown and without Horford. But I got to double check on the Horford situation. Deacon Mike says, when are you going to start wearing your cap backwards? Deacon, good question, but let's focus on winners right now. All right, let's focus on winners. You're trying to get me off my roll here. Let's move over to usually it's about my physical presence as I've been gaining weight. And that's what, you know.
We all have, bro. We all have.
I'm just getting so fat, but
we all have, bro.
Okay, here
I'm
we go.
Air frying everything, bro. I'm air frying everything. Doesn't matter.
Raptors, Celtics, let's go. Celtics opened up as 2.5-point favorites. They're now 2-point favorites. This total opened up at 210. It's dropped all the way down to 206. Hebrew Prince says Celtics not consistent. They can win and lose. Mally Mal says, I hate the Celtics. Top Shelf says, I hope y'all took my Ducks under. It was a great call, Top Shelf.
Good shit.
Great call. So for the Raptors, Van Fleet goes for 21-8 in that 116-103 home loss to the Nets on Sunday. But Pascal Siakam returned after missing 10 games while recovering from surgery in his left shoulder. He finished with 15 points, 5 of 12 shooting, picked up 4 boards over 25 minutes in his first game since May 8th. This is a very tricky spot. 3,429 tickets in, 47% of the tickets on the Raptors, 51% of the cash. So it's a coin flip there. Then you have 64% of tickets on the over, 60% of cash on the over. And yet we've seen this total go from 210 down to 206. So it could be a case of, you know, trying to cut down the leverage, for the pro gamblers, hitting both sides at this point. Take it away, my man Wham Bam, Raptors Celtics.
Yeah, this game is very, very tricky because the fucking Boston Celtics has actually been playing pretty well lately. Top 5 in opponents' 3-point percentage. This Raptors team is pretty much, a shocking in themselves. Been playing really well. Got guys that, you're not normally used to hearing from coming off the bench, playing really well. I think this is maybe just a better team here in the Raptors. And I don't want to say that prematurely here because I do have a ticket saying that the Boston Celtics will win the Atlantic Division. I just still think that what we've seen so far, maybe just a little bit better team here in the Raptors, bro. And without Tatum or without Jaylen Brown, I don't think they're going to be able to successfully get their revenge, even though they're at the house here. I just don't think that the Raptors, I don't think that the Celtics, just got it in them, man. I've been fucking staying away from them since I lost my first 3 bets. Were the fucking Celtics. I even think I even lost a game on this show with the fucking Celtics, bro. So it kind of makes me want to stay away from them entirely there, honestly. One thing I do want to note here that I may be leaning towards the under, though, and maybe the under early. I think there will be some defense played on both sides, though. I do believe that, especially with the defense that the Celtics have been playing, even without Jaylen Brown. I think they're going to find a way to make some defense here in this Raptors game. So I do see an under here, maybe a first half under. I haven't made that official yet, but that's the way I'm leaning here. Maybe a first half under in this game. We know these totals are really low, but I think we could get an under here early on.
It's just gone down too many points. Horford's all good, by the way. He's going to be. Oh, and I'm sorry. Let me just double check that very quickly. Sorry, I thought I had Horford there. Sorry, here we go.
I still got. I think I got him in. I think.
Yeah, I got him in as well. Okay. There's Cole Leone, the Vegas King, in the house. What up, Cole? Great to see you. And he says, "Don't bet my Celtics. We're trash." Don Max's Raptors smashed last time, and now they're plus Siakam and Celtics down. Jalen, give me Toronto in the points. This is an angry Celtics group, and with Siakam coming back, all of the rhythm changes. And as mentioned in the chat, Kem Birch out of the lineup, and I love him. Michael O'Brien says Horford not going to matter tonight. Any official look, and Capalot pops on the Boston team total under. For show, Cash says first quarter under for the Celtics. Are you going to make a move here? Anything official in Raptors Celtics?
Not just yet. I haven't made the bet yet, but if I would, it would be the first half, most likely the under there. But again, I'm kind of torn here on the side. I like the Raptors here, honestly, bro. I like the Raptors. Siakam is only going to get better. You know what I mean? So I kind of like the Raptors here, but I'm going to stay away from it right now.
I guess a possibility at this point, and we've got to speed up a little bit because we have so many games to get through. I guess a possibility, though, at this point would be you could take the Cavs and the Raptors both on the money line. And, if one cashes, you're in the black.
And honestly, let's be honest, bro. Both of those teams are playing pretty well, like in the opposite role. Like one playing well at home, the other one playing well on the road in the Raptors. I honestly would agree with that look there. If I'm going to take the Raptors, I'm going to take money line for both those teams, probably split the unit there. That makes a lot of sense in my opinion. You're right. A
possibility here for us. Okay, let's keep rolling. And Top Shot places once Cole Anthony's not scoring, it's over for the Magic. Back to that Magic spot against the Nets. All right, next up for us, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Milwaukee Bucks 5-6, 4-2 on the road at New York Knicks, 7-4, 2-3 at home. We're at Madison Square Garden in New York. We have the Knicks opening up as 3-point favorites. They're now 4-point favorites. This total's gone from 215 to 217. We go over to the cash flow in this game. 3,114 tickets in, 66% of the tickets on the Knicks and 87% of the cash on the Knicks. Then we have 55% of tickets on the under and 67% of cash on the under. The Bucks were an easy bet yesterday. I wonder if the Knicks are becoming an easy one today. Bucks began the back-to-back with a 118-109 win. They were down in the fourth quarter, and they took over in the fourth quarter, which was exactly how the game was broken down here on the show. And the Knicks bounced. So they're both coming off games against the Sixers. I guess you can call it a Knicks bounce back, I guess, in that 103-96. I wouldn't call it that. But, they needed a win, and they got it against a Sixers team missing Embiid. So last Friday, the Bucks lost 113-98 at home to these Knicks. And I wonder if it was a wake-up call sort of yesterday for the Bucks, or at least going to the White House and understanding, look, we're the champs. The Knicks are 3-0 against the Sixers and Bucks, who are, the teams we expected to be very tough in the conference, but just 500 against everybody else. And now it looks like Mitchell Robinson and Nerlens Noel, I'll double-check that, but could both be out here. If they are both out, doesn't that open up the paint and create more small ball situations and create more scoring? Take it away here, Wham, Bucks Knicks.
Well, it appears to me that Nerlens Noel, he's in a progression of coming back into the lineup. I think Mitchell Robinson, they probably just sat him out last game because it was the first leg of a back-to-back. I actually see both of those guys playing here. Man, this fucking Bucks team suck ass though, bro. Like, they barely got it done yesterday against an Embiid-less team, bro. It's kind of sad to say. They're really troubles on the boards, bro. They're just really bad on the boards. They're ranked 27th for the season on the boards, and I believe over the last 5 games, they're just bad as far as on the boards as well. But this team for the Knicks, I mean, they haven't been playing that good defense over the last 5 games, right? 25th in defensive rating. Haven't been playing that good of defense, but this Bucks team, they're really not moving the ball. I don't really know what to say of both of these teams. Both of the last opponents was Embiid-less teams. So, it was the Knicks without Embiid, and it was this team as well playing without Embiid, the Bucks. I just don't think that this Bucks team is just something that you want to back here, especially on a back-to-back. I kind of see the Knicks in a spot here that could come out and win in the first half. That's kind of where I would lean here. I don't think I really want to put my money on this game, though, honestly, because I just don't think that both of these teams have been playing really good defense lately. And as far as the offense for the Bucks, they're more concerning than the offense for the Knicks. So that's the reason why I lean for the Knicks here, just because they've been playing a little bit better offensively here. The Bucks ranked 26th in assist to turnover ratio over the last 5 games, 28th in offensive rating, 25th in true shooting for the Bucks. They've just been pretty bad offensively here, and they barely covered against a team that didn't have none of their stars. Allowed Tyrese Maxey to drop 26 points and a 20 rebound game for Drummond as well, which we did cash the freaking Drummond rebound prop was good yesterday, but didn't give it out officially there. So that's cool, whatever. But then again, maybe a little bit bitter there. The reason why I don't want to take this Knicks team, but I would lean Knicks early and often, honestly.
Interesting, because I like Knicks full game. But I think that the Bucks could come out sharp in that first quarter, getting a win, feeling good about themselves.
I understand.
But JA looking at RJ Barrett points over. Clark Townsend says the over 217 is the play. Opening up at 215, now at 217. Feels like, God, the Knicks totals are just, I find so difficult early in the year. I'm trying to stay off of them. At this point, we have Ick Schnizzle and Clark Townsend both thinking this is a very sharp line. Top Shelf said, Wham, I did take the Drummond over prop. Dennis Garcia is on Knicks, wants to move on the Knicks live at some point. And Michael O'Brien says Middleton makes the Bucks offense flow, and Middleton aiming to be back.
They need him back. They need him and Brook Lopez. And you already heard Greek say we need Brook Lopez back to rebound the ball. They're pretty bad at holding down the boards, bro. They need him back.
Let's move on to the next spot here. We will revisit this game. We just don't have time to hum and haw. Next up, Detroit, Houston. Houston opening up as 3-point favorites. His total opening up at 211, now down to 210. We have the cash flow in this spot with just 1,033 tickets in. 32% of the tickets are on the Pistons and 44% of the cash. 60% of tickets are on the under. We've been betting overs in Rockets games, and it's been working overall. We have Cade Cunningham going up against Jalen Green in this spot. Pistons have lost 3 straight. I guess you would be hesitant to take an under if the Pistons are involved, shooting at 39.4% from the field at 94.9 points per game. There's Nasty Nate in the house. Pistons, Rockets. I backed the Rockets at home in their only home victory, and I thought that was so easy. And I'm not sure why I wouldn't do this here. What's your thought, Pistons, Rockets?
That's great. I really like this matchup here. I really like this game. I'm very close to taking Pistons, honestly, bro. Because I just think they're gonna bounce back here. If their problem to me for the Pistons is that they don't play with enough pace. I don't have their pace numbers up. I'm going to pull those up shortly, but I know that they're ranked dead last in fast break points. This team on the other side for Houston, they're ranked dead last at opposing fast break points. They're giving up 20 points in the fast breaks to opponents here. So I just believe that this team will be playing a little bit better against this opponent. There's obviously a matchup that's going to be highlighting this game. It's the number 1 pick versus the number 2 pick. The guy that I took rookie of the year was Jalen Green, so I do expect him to have his due to play, up for this game. And again, I believe they're ranked 21st in pace as far as Detroit. I did pull that up there. And the Rockets play with number 1 pace over this year so far this year. So I think that contrast is going to allow the Pistons to play a little bit better offensively. This is another game for Cade to get under his belt against more inferior opponents now. He should be able to play a little bit better here. I think the Pistons are live. I think the money line is the only way we got to take it here because we got such a short number. I don't think it's going to be at a 1 or 2 point game. I think it's going to be one team is going to play better than the other. I like my chances of taking the Detroit Pistons on the money line here, but I do understand your point here for the Rockets. They possibly have one of the more better constructed young cores as far as locking down defense. I like Nwaba. I do like Jason Tate. I do like those guys on that team. I just think that this Detroit Pistons team, they could get it done if they get everything together. I like Sadiq Bey a little bit more than I like Jason Tate and Nwamba and all those other guys. And I think Cade Cunningham, he could just level up his game plan. This got to be the reason. We got to see it here, in my opinion. If we don't see it here, he's going to be getting called bust soon. So we got to see it in this game, in my opinion. So I think Cade Cunningham is going to show out today.
Doug Flush Allen's been betting team totals against the Rockets. So this would be a Pistons team total over for him. So do you want the Pistons at plus 140 right now? That's the best line available.
Yes, I do want that. That's pretty much, I'm going to make that play officially. I just haven't locked it in yet, but plus 140 is definitely something I don't think I'm going to be able to get later on. So I'm going to lock that in right now.
Pistons money line at plus 140. See, my feeling here, and for show Cash says 100% right. Wham's 100% right, is that these Rockets have only played 3 games at home this year. They haven't been able to get into any kind of flow at home. And I like them here. But you being on the Pistons might keep me off of this. All right, let's keep rolling. We have college basketball next, so let's keep rolling. Next up, 8 p.m. Eastern, Dallas Mavericks at Chicago Bulls, United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Mavericks 7-3, 2-2 on the road. Bulls 7-3, 4-2 at home. We have Dallas opening. Oh, sorry, I'm on money lines. Let's get back to spreads and totals here very quickly, and here we go. We have Chicago opening up as 3-point favorites and now 3.5-point favorites. This total opened up at 212. It's now up to 215. And I get it with Chicago averaging 108.9 points per game. Dallas now playing 6 of its next 7 games on the road, and they start this trip off with a visit to Chicago. It's very important for them to get this trip off to a winning start. Luka averaging 24.9 points, 8 boards, 6.7 assists a game. And they've won 3 straight, coming off a 108-92 win over the Pelicans on Monday. And Jalen Brunson has been so huge for this basketball team. My goodness, playing 28.6 minutes off the bench, 15 points, 5.1 boards, 4.5 assists, just doing everything. Scored in double figures 4 straight, put up 31 points against San Antonio last Wednesday. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine are rolling. They combined for 52 in that win over Brooklyn. They outscored the Nets 42-17. And Desomu also put up a season-high 15 points, 7 boards. Kobe White is going to hopefully return at some point during this upcoming 5-game road trip. I can't wait to hear your breakdown here. Mavs Bulls, take it away.
Yeah, it sucks that he's out also with Patrick Williams. That seemed like just a big loss to there originally. Porzingis being out of this lineup, though, for the Dallas Mavericks, I think it is going to continue to help them. And I love what you said about Jalen Brunson, man. I mean, come on now. We can't really talk enough about how he's really holding down this Dallas team. It seems like he's the second best player on this team, in my opinion, from what I've been watching. I just think this could be a Dallas spot. I don't want to bet against the Chicago Bulls because they're just so good against the spread this year. I mean, they've really been playing lights out against the spread, 7-3 against the spread, while the other team here in Dallas Mavericks, 3-7 against the spread. You're making money if you're betting against the Dallas Mavericks earlier in this season. So, I mean, I just don't think that the Dallas Mavericks possibly are that good on the road. I think they are 1-4 over the last 5 games. But I do like the Dallas spot here. I just think the spot here favors Dallas. Having that emotional win for the Bulls, you know, I mean, a series of emotional wins. They finally got a good one under their belt, beating Brooklyn, I believe. So, you know, I would really think that this could be a Maverick spot here. I just think I don't want to put it how would I say? I don't want to put all my eggs on a Luka basket, man, because obviously seeing him hit that game-winning shot, he's probably going to get some love here. They did what they have to do against the Pelicans, obviously. That they needed to do that. So, I mean, they are on the up and up right now, winning the last 3 games. They could definitely pull it off here, but I'm just stay away from this Dallas spot, honestly. I think I could find a little bit more value taking another team. I like Detroit money line for sure more than I like Dallas money line. That's guaranteed.
Feels like this Bulls team just never we're waiting for them to get respect, and they just don't seem to be getting it. What do they have to do to earn it? It's moved a half point in their favor. 5,560 tickets in, 70% of the tickets on the Bulls, 84% of the cash on the Bulls. Then 53% of tickets on the over, 60% cash on the over, and it's moved towards the over. Ray Charleston says, I think Vucevic has a decent game today with the matchup. DeRozan and Levine will continue to roll tonight as well. And Joshua Q. Conley says smash spot for the Bulls. Michael Anderson liking the DeRozan over prop. And God, they just don't seem to be getting any love. Now they are just 4-2 at home. It's not like they've turned United Center into this very scary place to play. Right. I lean towards the Bulls, but you have a feeling it's going to come down to the last shot.
Yeah, man.
Michael O'Brien saying 84% cash on the Bulls. Yes, big bets coming in on the Bulls, and I think this team is just a good basketball team. Dad says Bulls want to finish this homestand with a W. Give me the Bulls. Okay, so let's move on. Sebastian A. already on the Bulls, -3.5. Better team playing at home. Mally Mouse saying Dallas doesn't start strong early in games. And we have the prime cut play of the day. I'm going to copy and paste that here. That's on the Charlotte-Memphis game, which is we're 1 away from it. We're 1 away from the prime cut, so we'll talk about the prime cut in a second. But let's move to 8 p.m. Eastern. Next up, Oklahoma City Thunder, 3-6, 1-4 on the road at New Orleans Pelicans, 1-10, 0-4 at home. We're at the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans opening up as 4-point favorites. It stayed there right across the board. There's actually been a 1-cent move at Pinnacle to the Thunder. This total opening up at 210.5. It's now down to 209. When we go over to the cash flow in this spot, just 718 tickets in. Nobody wants to bet this fucking game. 23% of the tickets on the Pelicans, but 81% of the cash, which is interesting. Then 46% of tickets on the over, 98% of cash on the over in this spot. Thunder have in their 3 wins. Thunder sitting at 3-6, which is surprising. But in their 3 wins, they've been huge second half comebacks, and that builds chemistry and character in a team. Muscala, season high 20 points in just 14 minutes off the bench. They're getting production off the bench, which is something you can't say about the Pelicans. They're getting nothing. In that 108-92 loss at Dallas on Monday, the Mavericks reserve outscored the Pelicans 42-10. Jackson Hayes was the only Pelican reserve to score a basket. You have Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram out, Herbert Jones also out, and it's very tough for Willie Green to do anything here. This Thunder team came back from 26 once by the Lakers. Next time they came back against Lakers with 19, they overcame an early 16-point deficit to defeat the San Antonio Spurs. Do you agree with them being 4-point dogs here, Wham?
Yeah, I would say I agree with them being 4-point dogs. I mean, I really believe that the Lakers just paid the Thunder to allow them to lose. Like it just built so much momentum and so much cloud around the Lakers and shit, and everybody has to talk about them losing to the Thunder. That's probably the reason why they're getting respect. I do like Josh Giddey though. He has been killing on the boards, bro. Josh Giddey, man, over the last 4 or 5 games, 7 rebounds, 8 rebounds, 5 rebounds, 4 rebounds. Had a 9 and 8 rebounds earlier this year and a 10 rebound game against the Jazz to open up this season. That guy's been pretty much good on the boards, bro. It's 5.5 for the rebound prop for him. It's juice, but I think I like that a lot. In this game, though, it's only going to be Vucevic. I've been killing with the Jonas Valanciunas. I said Vucevic, I'm sorry. Jonas Valanciunas here. He's been killing on the points there. Continue to do it as well. I do like the under with Viper 47, though. I do like the under here in this spot because it just look like, man, any of these games are going to are any of these guys going to be able to score here or anything like that? I just don't know. That's one reason why I like that Giddey up. Shout out to my guy Billy Breeze. He did bring that up to my attention as well. Josh Giddey for the rebounds there. But I just think that the Pelicans probably are going to play a little bit better than this team, New Orleans. So if you were taking a side, I would do that. But honestly, it's a backwood game. I got to find out where the Valanciunas props are because they're not available yet. But Valanciunas points, rebounds. Points and rebounds probably are where I'm going to go here in this spot, especially if we still continue to get Ingram not in the lineup here. But it's just one of those backwoods, I think. In this game, this is one of those we could just swipe left, bro.
Yeah, I get. We got these matches. This is the second matchup of worst teams in the league, and I wonder if I don't want to just let go of these opportunities. As Viper knows
True.
well, I love these bum fights. I don't know if the Pelicans should be 4-point favorites to anybody. Devontae Graham, Nickeil Alexander-Walker are not playing at the level that I expected. Satoransky either. I think they're a good young point guard, shooting guard combo. And then I love Valanciunas. And then when we talk about this OKC team, it's, Shea doing so much damage here, but I don't know. The THC is Rizza says this 209.5 is too low. For show cash is OKC in the over.
The over.
If Melly Mouse says if there's no Ingram, it's OKC all day. If this total here, Wham, that opened up at 210.5 is dropping, it's not at 209. If you had a free bet on the total, what would you do?
I'm probably going to take the under, bro. I'm going to take the under. I think it's a lot of rebounds here. Even though I like the Jonas Valanciunas, I just think matchup-wise he's going to play well against the OKC team. So I think he's going to continue to eat there. I just think that's probably the play. I think the under. If I was to get a free play here, 20, you said 209.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take the under there. But again, like if I'm going to make a free play on this game, if it was just for the under or the total, I'll take the under. But if it was a free play on this game, it's got to be Jonas Valanciunas, man. Go over those points, bro. He's going to eat.
And Clark Townsend saying this game's going to be in the 220s. Michael Anderson looking at rebound prop days on Wendell Carter over 9.5, Christian Wood over 10.5, Jarrett Allen over 12.5, and Bam over 9.5. Tariq Hart Mills looking at Dort over 3.5 boards. Let's move on to Charlotte Hornets at Memphis Grizzlies. We have the prime cut, sweaty butcher play of the day. Charlotte Memphis over 228. He says Memphis ranked 27th in defense, 17th in pace. Hornets 30th in defense, 6th in pace. Memphis has won 3 of their past 4, scoring but not playing well defensively. This total opened up at Pinnacle at 229. That's where it stands now. Will Hill, though, has it at 228.5. Memphis opening up as 4.5-point favorites. That's where they are right across the board. Ja went for 33 against the Timberwolves. 4th game with 30 or more this year. Also put up 8 assists. Hornets trying to get something out of this road trip. It's been ugly. They expended so much energy in that 126-123 overtime loss to the Lakers. Ball goes for 25, 15, and 11. I wonder if they're vulnerable here. I wonder if they're going to be able to dial up the energy once again after they put so much of it on the floor against the Lakers. Take it away here, Wham. Hornets, Grizzlies.
Yeah, I'm on the Grizzlies here. Got it in at 4.5. I just think the Grizzlies are just going to show that they're the better team here. Fully deep, fully bettered. Got the guy that's going to take over the game. I do believe that we have seen a lot from LaMelo Ball. We're yet to see the best from LaMelo Ball, even though we've seen a lot of great moments here. But I just think that he's not going to be able to play up to what your level of what Ja Morant has been doing. I think Ja Morant right now probably is one of the best scorers in the game, and it's just starting off early. It just seems like he could get blown by anybody and everybody. And I'm not really concerned about this Hornets team that, allowed my Lakers to come back, and the Lakers pretty much trash ass right now. I mean, especially without LeBron, we're just dead meat right now. It just doesn't seem like that's a spot here for me. I do want to go back to the well with Miles Bridges, but I just got burnt the last 2 times, so I'm stay away from it right now. Oh, I'm sorry, the last time before that, and it did cash there. But I just think that Desmond Bane, he's coming back down to earth. It was at 15.5, now it's at 13.5. I think Desmond Bane is going to bounce back in this spot. So I do like the 4.5 here. I did take the 4.5 for Grizzlies. I will make that official play here. And I also will make Desmond Bane. I did bet that already at 13.5, minus 106, minus 110 for the side, and minus 106 for Desmond Bane over 13.5 points. I think he gets back to what we're used to seeing him early on. He was averaging about 17.5 points. Kind of did slow down again. One of those was a blowout. I don't think this will be a blowout. I think we will see this team, the Grizzlies, end up winning by about 10 points down the stretch type of game. You will see great moments here. I like the over here, of course, because both of these teams, like our guy said, they both are ranked bottom in defensive rating over the last 5 games. I do believe that this probably is a good spot for the over here. I think this is the highest total of the game as well, and I think every game we've been having these high totals. We haven't been hitting the under on any of those yet, so I think the over probably is the play here. Should be a lot of pace as well with the Hornets. Like our guy in the chat said, they are ranked, I think, 4th in pace over the last 5 games or for the season, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry. This is for the season. I'm sorry. Over the last for the season there. But I just like this Grizzlies team to just show up, play really well like they always do at home, cover this spot. I don't want to take them early. I think full game is the best spot.
Grizz minus 4.5, minus 108. What was the juice on Desmond Bane?
106, minus 106.
Minus 106. We're
Yes,
not linked up to your audio right now. I'm gonna pull you out for a second and hopefully get this right. Pull you out and bring you back in here. Let's move on to the next spot here. We have 8:30 p.m. Sacramento Kings at San Antonio Spurs. There we go. AT&T Center, cool. San Antonio, Texas. Kings 5-6, 3-2 on the road. Spurs 3-7, 1-3 at home. We have the Kings here opening up as 1-point dogs, and Pinnacle just moved them to 1-point favorites. This total opened up at 220. It's now at 222 or 222.5. We have 2,698 tickets in, 53% of the tickets on the Spurs, 55% of the cash, 56% of tickets on the under, and 88% of the cash. Spurs try to bounce back off that 99-94 loss in Oklahoma City on Sunday. Keldon Johnson went for 22. Walker had 15 off the bench. Eubanks went for 14 and 11. 6 of San Antonio's 7 losses this season have come by an average of 5 points. 5 points. Kings come to San Antonio off the 109-104 loss to the Phoenix Suns. That went down to the final seconds. They were down 21 points and fought back. Harrison Barnes went for 26. De'Aaron Fox went for 24. And they played without Tyrese Halliburton, who's dealing with lower back tightness. Take it away here, Wham, Kings, Spurs.
Yeah, the Sacramento Kings, they've been pissing me off lately, especially Luke Walton towards the end of the fucking last game. Me and my guy Dutch, we had the Rashawn Holmes over 9.5 rebounds. And sure enough, he has him sit the whole fucking 5th quarter with 8 rebounds pending. Come on, bro. Like, come on. So I really don't want to touch this game in props perspective because he just did some weird stuff having our guy, our good old guy, Damian Jones, in the lineup towards the end of that game against the Suns. I just think that this Kings team may be losing too much with Halliburton out. Even though you're getting really good production from Hill, knocking down those threes, getting really good production from our guy Harrison Barnes. I don't really want to back this team on the road. That's where it is for me. I don't like San Antonio as a favorite though. Honestly, I would rather have these guys being a home dog in this scenario here. But if you were to give me a free bet, I'm thinking only the Spurs. And am I still out of sync here? It looks like I'm still out of sync here. Let me hop out and hop back in, guys.
Okay, cool. We'll do that.
Yeah.
I find the Spurs should bounce back here. They should bounce back here. Kevin Riley looking at Sacramento, but Spurs are now just 1-3 at home. I don't know if they can be trusted at home. I'm put a couple question marks beside the Spurs. We're going to move into the next game here at 9 p.m. Eastern. Indiana Pacers 4-7, 1-5 on the road. Denver Nuggets 6-4, 4-1 at home. Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado, and no Nikola Jokic. He's suspended one game for the hit to the back of Markieff Morris. That he sounds like he is upset that he did. Indiana opening up as 3.5-point favorites. They're now 3 points across the board. 3-point favorites. His totals dropped 4 points from 209.5 all the way down to 205.5. We have Indiana having 82% of the tickets, but just 52% of the cash on them. And then we have 27% of the tickets, 38% of the cash on the under. So Nuggets are also without Michael Porter Jr., so you're going to have no Jokic, no Michael Porter Jr. Pacers coming in off Sunday night's 94-91 win over Sacramento. The first road win of the season for the Pacers. Did it without Malcolm Brogdon, who missed the second straight game with non-COVID-19 illness. We don't know what his status here right now. And Karis LeVert is back and put up 22 points against the Kings. Wham Bam, here we go. Pacers Nuggets, take it away.
Yeah, I would expect the Denver Nuggets to bounce back here. I even without Jokic, I think that this Pacers team is just pretty much just badass. You know what I mean? Having to come on a road as well, it's not really an advantage for them. So I kind of would understand the reason for the line not to really move too much. I kind of would think this is a Denver spot here. But again, you want to take into account that this team is losing one of their MVP. This is an MVP from last year. He's obviously one of the most guys that get the most touches. I'm sorry, if you're looking at the advanced stats, he has the most touches over the last 5 years out of any player, even like LeBron and KD and all these guys. I just think that this game is just so much fucking in the air. I don't want to touch it. I understand the reasoning for liking the Pacers. They could definitely bounce back here. I just don't think they will on the road against a team like the Denver Nuggets here. They still have players that still can pull it off, without Jokic. So I don't want to take that chance, honestly. And I would stay away from this game, to be honest with you. But if I had a free play, it's got to be the Denver here at +3. I'll take the Denver here +3. I think it could be a wire-to-wire type of game. Not a wire-to-wire, down the line type of game here for the Denver Nuggets. And they possibly end up losing by 1 or 2 points, or could pull off an upset here. So I think that could be it, but I'm going to stay away from it here. It's just too much uncertainty. I definitely think that, you're going to see a lot of good play from Will Barton, Monte Morris. You're going to see those guys play well. So that's the reason why I like the Denver Nuggets here. I'm just going to stay away.
This total's dropped, 4 points from the opener. Do you agree with Jerry Beattie's idea that Jokic slows the game down? Because he's such a thoughtful point center, and Jerry B says he slows the game down over the total here. Replacements will play hard. What do you think of that idea?
Yeah, I mean, I understand it because it's just like he's a back to the basket type of big. So you would originally think that. I just don't think that the way they play, what, this team is so efficient though, bro. Like, and it has a lot to do with Jokic. It kind of makes me think I maybe stop talking myself off the Nuggets here, because I really kind of would want to bet them. But I mean, the total, I can see these guys slowing it down here. I honestly would leave this total alone though, bro, because you never know what you're getting from the team that doesn't have one of their key guys. They could increase the pace. You know what I mean? Like, so I understand what your point. I understand his point there without him in there. I would stay away from it, honestly. But at the same time, if you're thinking about something that, if you're going to have to make a play here, if this is some of your strongest leans here, I do understand having Jokic, a back-to-the-backs type guy, out of the lineup, help increase the pace here. Just something that I don't want to do, especially with Indiana. I mean, over the last 5 games, 4 of those games went under on the road. this could be a bad night for them too. So I'm gonna stay away from the total here, bro.
All right, we got to speed this up. Portland Trailblazers, Phoenix Suns, Wham Bam Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. So Suns looking to win 6 straight here. We have the Suns opening up as 5-point favorites. It's right there, right across the board. It's total opened up at 223. It's now up to 224 or 224 and a half. 1,387 tickets in. 29% of the tickets are on Portland, but 43% of the cash, which is interesting. Then 40% of tickets on the under and 47% of the cash. The Blazers opened up a 4-game road trip by losing last night 117-109 to the Clippers. They're on the second half of a back-to-back here, and interesting that they're taking money. You have a feel here?
Yeah, I do. I actually like Phoenix here. This is possibly an addition that I'm going to make. I just don't like anything I've been seeing from the Portland Trailblazers this year, especially on the road. They actually over the last 7 games, they haven't covered 6 of those games, so they're 1-6 over the last 7 games. Haven't been really playing against that many tough guys, tough competition. And this Suns team, they showed me that they can live up to playing really well against teams without Ayton. So they're not going to have Ayton in his lineup. They're not going to have Shammy. Seems like he's doubtful. He's not going to possibly play. Frank the Tank Kaminsky, shout out to our guy Billy. He did bring him up, man. He actually has been playing pretty well. So I do kind of have a little bit of lean there towards the Suns based off of what he's been doing, along with McGee. McGee's been showing that he's league worthy to stay in the league. So he's been playing really well. I think the Suns here are a pretty good spot here. 5, I would agree with the line pushing it towards them. The Suns should be able to take care of business. I liked what they did against the Cavs. One of those games that I think they play really well at the house. I think they have that same type of mentality here. Should be able to hold it down. I don't like anything on the props perspective in this game, though, just because it's so up and down. And, again, I may have got bit. I may have got burnt here with this game yesterday, but coming off a back-to-back with the Blazers here, I'm going to only lean Suns here, and that's probably the way I'm going to bet here. I haven't made the bet yet, but that's probably the way I'm going to bet.
Is this going to be an official look here?
Not at this moment. Not at this moment. I'm just going to hold off on it until I actually make the bet here.
All right, 2 games left. Minnesota Timberwolves, Golden State Warriors, Chase Center in San Francisco, California. We talk about wanting to fade a player after a spectacular game. It doesn't work with Steph Curry. He's the only guy who can go for 50 and then do it again the next day. T-Wolves have lost 5 straight. This is a beginning of a 3-game road trip, 3 California games in 4 nights, and a back-to-back against the Lakers, Clippers Friday, Saturday. So this is the first game of a 3 and 4 night situation for them. We have Minnesota opening up as 7.5-point dogs. That's gone down to 7 at some books. This total shot up from 221.5 to 223.5 at Pinnacle. The other books haven't quite followed suit. And we have here 6,229 tickets in, 92% of tickets, 97% of the cash on the Warriors. And we know what Cat does in these matchups against the Warriors. He looks good. He seems to always step up in this situation. Take it away, Wolves, Warriors.
Yeah, I love how you broke that down, starting off with Steph, man. What a phenomenal game that he had here. His over threes just seem like they cannot be high enough. Whatever that number is, just go over it. Probably 6.5 at this point. He's probably averaging about 7 to 6. I think 6.5. I think he's averaging about 6.5 3-point makes, if I'm not mistaken. But in this game, again, it's such a high number, man. This team is the best team in a league. And the Timberwolves, I mean, they're on the cusp of being very good to being very bad. So you don't really necessarily know what type of Timberwolves team you're going to get. I think that with D'Lo back in the lineup, they will play a little bit better. This is a D'Lo revenge game that we're not talking about either. D'Lo has been shipped off to Minnesota. So this is a D'Lo revenge game. So I am interested in seeing that just based off of that. But honestly, I just would leave this game alone. Another game that I think is a backwood, maybe a later on down the line, Golden State first half. I'm going to look into this game a little bit more. I don't have that many notes down, but I do believe that their first half numbers have been pretty good. If I'm not mistaken, actually, I got that pulled up here. I think the first half numbers for Golden State have been pretty good, if I'm not mistaken. I'm dead ass lying here. I'm sorry, y'all. It's 2-6 over the last 5 games in the first half. They actually been dead ass trash in the first half for the Golden State Warriors here. So my apologies there, but and it's the other way around for the Timberwolves. So, yeah, maybe I'm going to stay away from this game, honestly, in general here. Don't really have that much of a feel for the Timberwolves as of late, but I have been cashing with the Golden State Warriors. I am a little bit biased there, so I just don't think that I want to lay 7 after that such a big game that they had last game. And the team, I'm sorry, the Hawks reporter was a little pissed off that Steph got the 50 there. But I know we got to move on. My apologies, y'all. Let's keep going.
It's all good. It's all good. I am going to move on the Wolves at +7. You have 98% of the cash and a huge enough sample size on the Warriors, and the market moves towards Minnesota, making it more appealing to get Warriors cash. Minnesota starting out their road trip with Russell wanting to send a message here. I think the Wolves can keep this within 7. We have Heat Lakers, no LeBron James. This spread is at 4.5 for the Heat. This total opening up at 214.5 is now at 213.5. You have a look here, Wham.
Yes, sir. I'm taking the Heat, man. I'm taking them at 4.5. Just like what I've seen from the Heat so far, I do not like what I've seen for the Lakers. Again, this is a Lakers spot for them to show up against a tough opponent here. I just don't think it's going to happen. This Heat team has been playing lights out, got one of the best benches in the NBA. You don't need to tell me how much disappointed the Lakers has been. The Lakers have been very disappointed. One of the worst turnover teams in the league. A lot of that has to do with Westbrook. A lot of that has to do with Frank Vogel switching up the lineups every damn chance he gets here. And honestly, AD, he should play well against this game, but I'm not going to bank on. They're not going to shoot as well as they have been to get these comebacks against these weaker teams. They're not going to be able to shoot that their way back into the game against this team. So I like the Miami Heat here. I am locking that down as an official play, 4.5. Already locked that in there before we hopped on here. So that's the last bet that I made here. The other ones that I'm leaning here towards, I most likely will have those added on later on if I do make those official plays. But for right now, those are the 5 that we're rocking with.
Just send me a text and we'll be good to go. I'm interested in both the Cavs and Raptors money lines. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on that. Wham, interested in that Kyle Kuzma over 1.5 threes, but not an official pick.
Yep.
I also have interest in Orlando at +9. I guess a lot of these dogs I find appealing. Even the Knicks to take care of business in the fourth quarter against the Bucks. Wham, you start with Pistons money line at +140, which may have talked me off the Rockets. I think I'm going to move on the Bulls. We have nothing in OKC, New Orleans. Wham, you're on the Grizz -4.5 and -108, and Bane over 13.5 points and -106, and the prime cut over 228 for Charlotte, Memphis. I think the Spurs can bounce back here, and I would like to take advantage of Sacramento on the road, but they're 3-2 on the road, so I don't know. I'm going to put more question marks. Maybe I just stay off of that spot. I have interest in speed, but I mean, in the Nuggets game, but do I really think that JaMychal Green's going to, help us get to an over? Wham, we talked about the Suns. That may be a move for you. I am going to move on the Wolves at +7. Wham also moved on the Heat -4, -110. You can catch our guy Trot Wam on our big NBA Pub Hub show at 4 p.m. Eastern every day. Wham, we love you very much. Thank you so much for rolling with us. Follow our guy Wham at Trot Wam on Twitter. Any last words for these great cappers?
Oh, man, feeling good, man. Feeling great. Appreciate all you guys. Wham Talk Wednesday. I will be on Hoop Banging Sports Talk today at 11 Pacific Standard Time. Appreciate y'all. We will be on the NBA Pub Hub. I'll give you guys a heads up. My best bet for today, it will be the Detroit money line, man. Just been killing in the meetings. We didn't speak on that as well. Been covering and winning these meetings with Houston 7 of the last 8 times. So let's keep going, bro.
There he is, Trot Wam in the house. We go from NBA to NCAA basketball, making a return appearance on the show. You're going to see a lot of him on this show. He is the star of our 5 p.m. Eastern NCAA Net Profits show. Please welcome back Maxwell Smart in the house. Maxie, how are you, my guy?
I'm all right, Jim. It was a long day, a lot of games, a lot of stress. I think I lost 2 pounds in sweat, and there was a lot of pleasure with a lot of heartache. I was on the wrong side of the Champions Classic in both games. That obviously hurt, but I watched Siena get destroyed by St. Bonaventure. I watched UConn walk all over Central Connecticut State like they were their celly and their bottom mate, and I'm ready for the season to keep on going. So I'm glad that I'm here with you. I like your hat today. And I'm ready to get going on this card. I don't know how much time we have, so I will be quick.
We have Maxwell Smart joining us. James Little says, the man of the hour. Schnizzle says, Sir Maxwell, my guy. Let's get to work right now. Max starts his card here. These are games that he's chosen with the first game on the schedule. Buffalo Bulls, 16-9 last year at number 6. Michigan Wolverines went 23-5 last year. We're in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Michigan opening up as 15.5-point favorites. That's dropped all the way to 12.5, Max. This total has gone from 150.5 all the way up to 153.5, and Pinnacle just moved it to 154. We have a situation where 4,362 tickets are in. 47% of the tickets are on Buffalo, but 86% of the cash. And it's 50-50 with tickets on the total, but 70% of tickets are on the under. Yet this has climbed all the way to 154. Max, your first game on the board, Buffalo, Michigan. Take it away.
Yeah, I think that with Buffalo in this matchup, this is their preparation for a possible NCAA tournament first round game. If they can play better in the half court offensively and not be completely reliant on letting their rebounding and transition running to lead to their scoring, I think that we're going to see some improvements in this Buffalo team. Coach Whitesell did a really good job of bringing quality recruits in like Maceo Jack, and I think that we need to see someone else that he brought in last year, Keyshawn Bruton, really step up, because if he cannot be a low volume scorer and a consistent scorer, well, you got to give some run to Curtis Jones, because I think that this kid could be the next breakout star for Buffalo. I think that when you look at this Buffalo team, they got to stay fast. They got to stay physical. This is one of the best rebounding interior defense teams in the MAC conference. And they're going to have 3-level scoring. They're going to have to win on the glass, where they were able to in a lot of games last year, whether it be in conference or non. And with the 3-point defense, that's going to be key against this Michigan scoring attack. You're going to have to keep this team under 30% from the field. And if you don't, that 3-point shot may be the determining points that beat you on the spread. I took Buffalo and Michigan on the over this morning before this line move, Jim. And I would be taking the ass end of the line if I gave it out on the show as an official pick. But that was the biggest edge on this game that I saw and that I perceived. What did trouble me was I have seen some people that I respect on it, including the Master Jedi of Unders, who's on the under in this game. So,
wow. And did Noli wait till it went all the way up, or when did he get it?
He got in, I think, at under 152.5. Yeah.
For those low baggers watching the show right now, can you just touch on your Patreon account where we can get all of your action as well? I know we have the 5:00 show, but we haven't talked about the Patreon.
Yeah, I just do a Patreon. I do streams Monday to Friday, and then on Sunday, I go through as many games as I can in an hour, and I try and give out 3 best bets that are going to win at the end of it. So,
and is that at 1 p.m.?
That's usually at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay, good. So I don't need. Okay, that was part of the reason if you had to be out of here in 17 minutes. Okay, so Max did move on the over at 150, but not going to take the ass end of the line right now. That's the first game on the docket here for Max. Buffalo Bulls, Michigan Wolverines. We move on to the next spot on Max's card here. William and Mary Tribe, 7-10 last year, 4-6 in the CAA at Wake Forest. Demon Deacon, 6-16, 3-15 in the ACC. We are in Winston-Salem at Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons open up at -14.5. There's been a 9-cent move towards them at Pinnacle, but it hasn't moved to 15, although Sports Interaction, Bodog, Will Hill have. This total opened up at 142. It's now all the way down to 139 or 138. We move over to the cash flow here. 1,979 tickets in. 72% of the tickets on Wake Forest, but 85% of the cash. Big bets being moved there. And then, interestingly enough, 77% of the tickets and 89% of the cash on the over. Yet this total has dropped 3 or 4 points. Here we go, Max. William and Mary, Wake Forest, take it away.
Yeah, I think that with this Wake Forest team, Jim, Steve Forbes is finally going to be able to start to show what he can do as a coach in the ACC with his type of players. He went out on the transfer market and did a brilliant bunch of work. He went out and got Jake LaRavia from Indiana State, who's a 6'8" swing forward who can score from all three levels, and he can do work on the glass and on the defensive end. He went and got Alondis Williams from Oklahoma, 6'5", very strong on ball defender, and a guy that is looking for more shots and more opportunity to score the ball. And I think he's going to get that for Wake Forest. And then the third impressive transfer was Kadeem Sy from Ole Miss. You always need a big anchor in the middle. Look how it's benefited the Bonnies. Not saying that Kadeem Sy is anywhere close to Oshun, but I am saying that it will work in the ACC. The other reason why I chose this game is if you watched and checked all the box scores yesterday, the ACC did not have a very good day. There were a couple major upsets in that conference, and I think that being a coaching staff, seeing what happened, how do you not make your players aware? Listen, there's parity in college basketball more so than ever now with the G League with the G League team coming out. So I think that Wake Forest is going to be able to avoid any kind of nonsense. I think that they're a team that I like in the first half. They're a team that I like full game. And with William and Mary, the problem with them is I don't know how they deal with all the height that Wake Forest has. Yuri Covington is the key for William and Mary. And with such a ball screen heavy oriented offense, you need to have him be the catalyst of that. You do have a very good scorer in Connor Kuchera. He's a 3-point threat. He's a very good slasher. He showed that last year in his freshman year. But I just think that Wake Forest is going to have little to no trouble getting to the rim. It's just going to be a matter of can they hit jump shots and will they fall in love with the 3-point shot if it's easily available. I think that because William and Mary lacks depth, they don't really have the versatility that I think is going to match up well with this particular Wake Forest team. So I like Wake Forest first half, and I like Wake Forest full game.
Do you want the minus 14.5 at minus 117 or minus 15 at minus 110?
I'll take the 15 at minus 110.
So Wake Forest full game minus 15 at minus 110. And then here for the first half, we have Sports Interaction, and they're saying that Bet365 is giving the minus 8 and minus 110. That is true. So minus 8 first half. So first half is minus 8 at minus 110. And we have Maxwell Smart's first double up of the year on the Demon Deacons in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We move on. Billy Pilgrim says Deacons big for me as well. Kev Riley on the other side with William and Mary. Mike M says love Wake Forest here. Beatdown night for the Deeks. Let's move on. Max's next spot, 7 p.m. Eastern. Maryland Eastern Shore Hawks, 5-27 last year, 4-12 in the MEAC at Temple Owls, 5-11 last year, 4-10 in the AAC. We're in Philly for this one. Let's see what we have here. Temple opening up as 14-point favorites. That's first half, of course. I mean, that didn't make sense. Here we go. Full game. Temple opening up as 27-point favorites. They've moved to 27.5. Bet365 has moved it to 28. Bodog still hanging at 27. This total opened up at 133.5. It's now at 135.5 or 136. When we go over to the cash flow, we have nothing here. Just 302 tickets in, so nothing calculated at this point. Maryland Eastern Shore is on the second half of a back-to-back after losing 69-67 at St. Joseph's last night as 24.5-point dogs. The Hawks looked good. They shot 47.6% from three. 24.5-point dogs almost won it. Dom London was the only scorer in double digits with 11, but they had 9 players playing a role. I guess 8. One guy played 3 minutes. So is this a spot where you think Maryland Eastern Shore used up all of their energy and it's going to be difficult to dial it up again against Temple. Take it away, Max. Maryland Eastern Shore, Temple Owls.
Yeah, I think that in this matchup, it's important to make the distinction that St. Joe's is a team that is trying to figure out how to adapt to life after Ryan Daly. And they did a great job in the first half. The problem was Tuka Nunjan and guys like freaking Nathaniel Pollard were freaking getting going in the second half. They played some good defense near the rim, and they were able to get some runs off. So I think that with this version of the Shore is going to be a bad team. They had a good opening game. They caught some hot shooting. Well, now you got to go up against Temple's man-to-man defense, which sounds very simplistic when you think about the American Athletic Conference and all the very abstract defenses that are used there. But this is a group that I think that is going to have a little more trouble scoring against the Temple guards than they did last night against St. Joe's. This is a Shore team that I think will have improved three-point shooting, but not to the point of 47%. And I think that when you look at the ball hawking and the ability to bring the trap and bring double teams and produce turnovers with it, I'm not going to just grant them that rite of passage just yet. So they do got to have balanced scoring. They do got to play a lot of guys and play a lot of minutes. But when you talk about Khalif Battle, you talk about Damian Dunn, you talk about Jack Forrester, who's only 6'9", but is able to man the 5 spot in a lot of 4-out lineups and not be a liability. He's going to give you the blocks, but he definitely gives you the box outs and the rebounds without fouling. So I think that when you have two down-hole guards like Dunn and Battle, you only worry about ball security. And that's been an issue with these Aaron McKee teams the last 2 years. Hopefully that's something that's going to be improved, and they need to be more rim attack oriented. And if they do that with these guards against this defense coming off a back-to-back, I think that this is a spot where Temple is definitely going to have some value. I think that there's value on the under. I like the under at 133.5. I like it at 136. That's the play that I'm going to make for the show. And I'm just going to hope that Temple can keep the Shore out of the paint, force them to make mid-range shots, and close out on three-point shooters and don't give them open looks. So
I like this idea. This idea makes a ton of sense after the Shore looked so good from three last night. Tired legs in the second half as well. Matty Ice backing you on this play, and you can get an under 136 at minus 110 available right now. Max is locked in on the under in the Maryland Eastern Shore Hawks at Temple Owls. We move on to 8 p.m. Eastern. North Florida Ospreys 8-15 last year, 6-6 in the A-Sun. At Texas A&M Aggies 8-10 last year, 2-8 in the SEC. We're at Reed Arena in College Station, Texas. Max has picked a few games where we got a chance to see these teams last night. Teams on the second half of back-to-backs. And I'm so curious how he's going to be handling it. The first two spots, we have teams that shot the lights out. Maybe even three. But some of these spots, we have teams that looked terrible yesterday. So it's going to be fun to watch this cap. We have North Florida, this game popping off at 8 p.m. Where is it? There we go. Texas A&M opening up as 16-point favorites. No movement. Bodog has moved to the half point, but nobody else has. This total opened up at 144 and it's dropped all the way down to 141 or 140 and a half. Let's see if we got any cash flow that can help us. We do not at this point. It's funny because we do have 1,336 tickets in, but no information yet. North Florida on the second half of a back-to-back after losing 89-74 at Texas Tech last night as 21.5-point dogs. Here's another team that shot very well. The Ospreys shot 44% from three, had 4 scores in double digits. Maxwell Smart, take it away. North Florida, Texas A&M.
Yeah, Jim, when you watched that North Florida game yesterday, North Florida did a fantastic job of taking advantage of Texas Tech, who was without Terrence Shannon. A lot of people except me thought that was going to be a big issue, and look what happened. It was a big issue. They weren't able to cover the 20-plus point spread that they were favored by. I think with this North Florida team, it's feast or famine with this group. They play that 1-3-1. They give you a lot of three-point attempts. They take a lot of three-point attempts, and I think that when you look at this defense, they got to stop you with that zone, or they got to abandon it. We've seen teams the last couple of years really exploit it. I think that we're going to have a better performance from it in this game against this Texas A&M team, because what has Buzz Williams failed to do in his tenure at Texas A&M? He's failed to have a very good offense or a very good defense in the same season. So usually they're just average when you look at the rankings and you look at the metrics of it. But A&M's going to have a new look. They're going to have a new look in the backcourt, and I really like the look. I like Tyrese Radford. This is a defensive guard. He's a slasher. He's not really fearsome from the outside, so he doesn't help that aspect of Texas A&M's offense. But Marcus Williams, the Wyoming transfer, this guy's an elite finisher. This is a guy that's going to probably make some first, maybe second or third all conference in the SEC, in my opinion. When you look at North Florida,
oh, sorry, my fault.
Sorry, Jem, I got a little more to go. When you look at North Florida, you have to make sure that this team didn't throw out everybody's legs last night. They really divided up the minutes. Nobody played more than 30 minutes, so I don't expect the back-to-back to really hurt them. Last year, they played, I think, 6 back-to-backs. They were 3-3 ATS on it, and this is pretty much the exact same roster aside from Josh Endicott not being there. But I think that North Florida is going to be able to hang in on the spread. I see 17. That's what I'm going to bet. And I would like to make that official for the show. And I'd also like to call out Noli, who's on the under in this game. I'm scared to tail him. I'm probably going to tail him. He's the master Jedi of unders. And did you count how many unders hit yesterday? Holy cannoli.
Yeah, without a doubt. So North Florida, yeah, I can't. Where can you? I can only find 16.5s right now, but I don't have enough books. I should probably pull up FanDuel, a couple other books. Where do you see a 17 right now?
Pinnacle.
Oh, really? Okay. So maybe this just isn't updating. All right, let's give you that 17 right now. The
minus 106.
Ospreys, North Florida for Max at plus 17 at minus 106. And we are rolling. We move on to 8 p.m. Eastern. Alabama State Hornets 4-14 last year, playing all their games in the SWAC at Vandy. Commodores 9-16, 3-13 in the SEC. We're in Nashville, Tennessee for this spot. Vanderbilt opening up as 27.5-point favorites. That's down to 26.5 for 26. This total opened up at 142. I see 144s now. I'm not sure if that I'll have to double check and make sure that is, yes, 144s are on the board now. Alabama State is on the second half of a back-to-back. They lost 79-74 Western Kentucky last night as 26-point dogs. They played well. They played surprisingly well. Oh, by the way, bookmaker, thank you, Billy Frieda, because we don't have all the books up, and we want to give – because Max tries to get in, and he does. He beats all the market movement. But when he does our shows, for us, he gives us only what's available at the market then. And that's going to hurt him long term. So we always want to try to give him the best line available. Billy Friedrich found plus 17.5 for you, a bookmaker at minus 108. So if anybody can help us with that as we go through, we will be thankful, because Max is taking it by giving us market plays when he comes on the show. So a big night for Alabama State, only losing at Western Kentucky by 5 points as 26-point dogs. Take it away, Max. Alabama State, Vanderbilt.
Yeah, it was really impressive to watch Alabama State and this new version of Mo Williams' team. Obviously, we're going to have a really nice coaching matchup and former NBA players that played against each other. But Mo Williams had his team shooting 40% from the three-point line, 80% from the free throw line. Those are numbers that I love. I love free throw making teams. I hope that they can make some free throws again because I would lean towards the over. I think that when you look at this Vanderbilt team, you do have Scottie Pippen Jr. I think Scotty's going to be in the paint, scoring a lot of 2-point buckets tonight. I think that not having Liam Robbins and Rodney Chapman definitely hurt, not having those graduate transfers. But I don't really care about taking this game on the spread. I think that if I were to get on the spread, I would be looking towards Alabama State. I really liked how Trace Young and Juan Reyna and Isaiah Range played last night. They combined for, I think, close to 50 points. So that's the type of stuff that I haven't seen from Alabama State in a couple years. And they could be the type of team that backdoor covers. I think that with this team, free throws is what they got to keep their opponent off of. If they can stop this Vanderbilt team from getting to the free throw line, I think they have a good chance of staying in it. But I think that there's going to be points both sides. Let's get some pro-style offense. Let's get some fast basketball. And let's not put anybody to sleep.
Are you going to make the over official?
What line can you get me? Because I got 143.
Let me see. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna start line shopping because I think these are stale lines that I'm looking at because I still see 142s on the board. So I'm gonna look up a couple of these books and double check a possible over right now in Alabama State, Vanderbilt. Let's move on to the next spot for Max that he is attacking. 8 p.m. Eastern. We have Northwestern State Demons, 11-18, 9-7 last year in the Southland. At Tulsa Golden Hurricane, 11-12, 7-9 in the AAC. We have Tulsa opening up as 19.5-point favorites. It looks like that line hasn't moved. And from a total perspective, it opened at 145.5, getting juiced, and now down to 144.5 at some books. Northwestern State is on the second half of a back-to-back. They lost 77-59 last night at Oklahoma as 28-point dogs. They played pretty well to get this season started, Max. What's your move here at Northwestern State, Tulsa?
Yeah, with Northwestern State, Jim, obviously this is a team coming off a back-to-back, not really experienced in that situation, so there really wasn't an edge that way, but this is a group that has a nice combination in the front court that played a very tough front court and a tough defensive-minded team yesterday in Oklahoma and Porter Moser, who's come over from Loyola Chicago. So that was even more impressive to me. But the problem was they went 6 for 13 from the free throw line. They went 3 for 17 from 3. These are areas that you need to score if you're a Demon Deacon player to have a chance to actually win games. Because if those numbers were a little better, maybe that game is a little closer. So I think that with your combination of Kendall Coleman and Larry Owens down low, you got to win on the glass. You got to force some turnovers, and you got to make sure that even though you only turned the ball over 13 times, it was when those 13 turnovers happened. You don't want to kill runs by turning the ball over, and you don't want to turn the ball over in the last 5 minutes of the second half. And that's something that the Demon Deacons did yesterday. I think that with Tulsa, listen, losing Brandon Rochelle is bad. It's not good for them. This is a poor three-point shooting team that is going to be very dependent on UT Arlington transfer Sam Griffin to come in and give you that number one scoring option that makes most of his business from beyond the arc. I think that getting Ladarius Train and his length on the wing is going to fit this Tulsa Frank Haith defense, and getting Jariah Horn to come back from Colorado, that's just a great move. I think that this Tulsa team is going to be running that matchup zone defense. They're going to be succeeding. They're going to be keeping teams under 30% from the three-point line, and they're going to take away shots at the rim, hoping that you miss those threes. If they can improve on the glass, they're going to be valuable. But right now, at the number, I don't like them on the spread, but I do like the full game under at 144.5 or 145, depending on what you can get me.
Well, let's start here with FanDuel is offering you the over in Alabama Vandy at 143.5 at -112.
Okay, I'll take that for the show.
Okay, so let's start there. Over 143.5 at -112. And then here in northwestern Tulsa, we have another 143.5. What were you looking at?
I'm looking at the under in that game.
Okay, so I think I can get you higher than that. Let's just look at a couple. I'm going to start searching for better here because I think these are stale lines. Okay, so I'm going to look for a good under number for you in Northwestern State. Tulsa. Let's move on. We have 2 more games on the card, and then Matty Ice has a taint play today we want to ask you about. Next up, 9 p.m. Eastern, Coppin State Eagles, 9-13 last year, 8-4 in the MEAC at DePaul. Blue Demons, 5-14, 2-13 in the Big East last year with Wintrust Arena in Chicago, Illinois. We have over here. We have Coppin State coming in as 24-point dogs as an opener. It moved to 25.5. This total's gone from 148 to 148.5 or 149, depending on where you're shopping. There's Noli Knows in the house. So we have Coppin State on the second half of a back-to-back after an ugly 103-45 loss at Loyola. Coppin State shot 22.4% from the field and just 8% from 3. We have 176 tickets in, but they're telling us it's pretty much 50-50. Actually, 56% of the tickets so far are on Coppin State, but just 44% of cash, 57% of tickets on the over, 51% of cash. Not too helpful there. Max, take it away, Coppin State DePaul.
Yeah, Coppin State is the one team that's playing a back-to-back today that has the same coaching staff and is very good in back-to-backs. I believe they're 5-1 ATS in these back-to-backs. So the 24 points or higher is definitely interesting for me taking Coppin State. I'd probably be looking at them first half. The first half dogs have been definitely a better model prediction for me, but this Coppin State team is still trying to play the same kind of pace and tempo, get a lot of threes up, don't play a lick of defense. I think that this game is going over. I like the fact that Kyle Cardacci had such a bad shooting game that they took him out in the second half. I think that he comes to play today. I think that he hits maybe 6 threes. Look for him in DFS play. And I think that with Anthony Tark's younger brother, Nende Tark, being able to take over the number 1 scoring option role, I think that's going to be a good thing against this DePaul defense. Listen, against Loyola Chicago, you can expect those types of shooting numbers. Now you get a completely different class of defense to go up against. So I think we're going to see an inspired Coppin State team. I think that Mike Hood, an acquisition from the transfer market, is going to be able to solidify his spot as that 3rd scoring option. And as long as this team is rested, I don't think that they're getting routed that badly again. And they got lots of size and strength, so they should be all right. When you look at DePaul, Nick, Jim, you just got to make sure that you're not falling in love with Dana Stubblefield. I think that Dana Stubblefield will be able to build this DePaul program a lot better, but right now the pieces just aren't there. If you're trying to tell me that Yorane and Brandon Johnson are the difference makers that are going to elevate you in the Big East Conference, well, I'm sorry, you may be drunk, and I think that you should take a cup of coffee, pour it in your mouth, and swallow it.
Okay. Thank you, Billy, for your help. That's very helpful here. So we got some lines for you. First off, I can get you under 144.5 at -110 in Northwestern Tulsa.
Yeah, that works for me, bud.
Okay, let's lock that in. And then in Coppin State, the market's all over the place. Absolutely all over the place. And we can get you, there's 2 different 148s. There's one at Sports Interaction, and Billy letting us know there's one at Bet Online. So let's get you that over 148 in Coppin DePaul.
Yep, and I would also like Coppin first half, please.
And Coppin first half. Let's get Coppin first half. I will line shop there. While I'm line shopping for Coppin first half, let's move on to the last spot on Max's card. Alcorn State Braves, 6-13 last year, 6-7 in the SWAC. At Seattle Redhawks, 12-11 last year, 4-5 in the WAC. We're at Redhawks Center in Seattle, Washington. Move over to the odds page here. Seattle opening up as 16.5-point favorites. I have no movement or on the total at 142.5. Actually, looks like Bodog has moved it to 143.5. Roland G looking at Alcorn State plus 16.5. By the way, our guy Seamus Ignoramus says there's always value on Coppin State early in the season. Coppin has been a cover machine in previous seasons. Get in early on Coppin. So here in the Alcorn State game, I believe we have ticket information as well. Very little, just 126 tickets in, but 67% of the tickets and 88% of the cash have come in on Seattle. No market move. Also, interestingly enough, 67% of the cash, 67% of the tickets and 88% of the cash on the under. Alcorn State on the second half of a back-to-back after an 85-67 loss at Washington State last night as 28.5-point dogs. They were out-rebounded badly, 46-27. Here we go, Max. Last game on your card, Alcorn State, Seattle. Take it away.
Yeah, this is a spot that I've already bet Seattle from the Raw Mike Richards show this morning, Jim. And I think that with Seattle, it's more of a situational play as much as it's a model projection play. They just fired their coach 3 days ago because he was dropping N-bombs. Like, this is what we have still in college basketball. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I think that this team is going to really come out and own this team, own their court. And they have the pieces to do it. When you look at Darian Trammell, this guy took the Western Athletic Conference by storm. He's a legit NBA prospect and a legit 20-point per game scorer. So when you throw him along with like Grigsby and freaking Nettles, and then they brought in Cam Tyson, who may become the team's best 3-point shooter right away over from Houston, I think that this is going to be a really nice offensive game for Seattle. I think that they're going to dominate. I think they're going to cover that 14 points. And I think that they're going to do it with all this situational adversity around. So that's how I looked at it. It wasn't I don't like Alcorn State's offense. They couldn't score against Washington State yesterday. And when you look at when people say that Washington State and Seattle aren't really on the same level, I'm just like, maybe, but Seattle isn't completely inferior to Washington State.
So we're going to move on Seattle full game.
Well, no, I can't take the 16 or 17 that it's at right now. I got 14 this morning.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, yeah, no, I get that for sure. By the way, a huge difference in first half looks at Coppin State. Those of you at Bet365, every ears perked. FanDuel's moved Coppin State to 12.5 at plus or minus 105. Live right now, you can get them at Bet365. Coppin State first half plus 14.5.
Well, then sign me up for it.
Plus 14.5 and minus 110. That's not, and I clicked on it. You can bet that as we speak at Bet365. First half Coppin State plus 14.5 and no move there. Finally, we'll put a bow on this, just discussing the taint play of the day. And it's on Northern Colorado. Let me pull them up here. Facing Pacific, and Northern Colorado opened up as 3.5-point dogs. It's down to a pick 'em right now. Matty Ice got in at plus 2.5. He still vouches for it as a pick 'em. What do you think of this spot, Pacific, Northern Colorado?
Yeah, that game actually opened up at 5.5.
Oh, wow.
It's been cruising down. So if you're a line move fader, this is a spot that you just wait for it to stop and you take the other side. But I agree with Matty Ice about this. I like Northern Colorado at plus 4. I like them on the money line, and I also like the under in the game. I think that this specific team is going to play a little differently, but from their personnel, I don't really know if it's going to translate to efficiency. So I agree with the play. I also like the under in that game, and I hope that the Master Jedi of unders, wherever he is in the state of California, approves also.
I love it, Maxwell Smart. Let's review official action from Maxwell Smart, who can be seen again on our show tomorrow. We are so lucky to be rolling with Max. He is doubled up on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. First half -8, full game -15. He's on the under 136 at -110 in Maryland Eastern Shore Temple Owls. He's on North Florida at plus 17.5 at -108 against Texas A&M. He's on the over 143.5 at -112 in Alabama State at Vanderbilt. Commodore Commodores, and then the under 144.5 in Northwestern State at Tulsa, and the over 148 at -110 in Coppin State, DePaul, and the Coppin first half plus 14.5 at -110. There you have it. James Little says, what about FAU versus New Mexico? Check out Max's show, 5 p.m. here. They do a question and answer period with the cappers in the chat. Then they can fire their questions at Max. So check out his show Monday to Friday. Max Stars with Connor Mack at 5 p.m. Eastern. NCAA Net Profits. And follow Max on Twitter, CBMS420. Max, thank you so much for taking the time to work with us today. Can't wait to have you again tomorrow. I'm going to be tailing a few of these picks. I'm going to study them a little further. But thank you for sharing your hard work and insights with us. Have yourself a giant day. Any last words for the great cappers in the chat?
Yeah, Jim, obviously, let's get those winners. Let's serve that cock soup up to those bookies. And let's party like Sharpie does. Let's slay those BBWs. Let's go.
There it is. Maxwell Smart in the house. We're going to put a bow on this show by breaking down a little Wednesday MACtion. I know I was scared of the MACtion last night. And it's funny because I spent quite a bit of time breaking down the games and I was just filled with fear. And I hope to not do that here. I'm also so close to the black and I want to win badly and I was just scared. MACtion just scares the shit out of me. Let's move on to NCAA football, 7 p.m. Eastern. We get started with the Toledo Rockets, 4-5, 2-3 in the MAC. At Bowling Green Falcons, 3-6, 1-4 in the MAC. We're at Doyle L. Perry Stadium at Bowling Green, Ohio, for the Battle of I-75. 59 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 4 miles per hour is the wind. Shit, I got a lot of boxes up here. Let's move over to NCAA football and talk about market moves and talk about where the cash lies. Here we go. Spreads and totals. Here, I was going to take a second. I got too many goddamn boxes open. Toledo opens up as 9.5-point favorites. That's moved to 10.5. They're now 10.5-point favorites. This total opened at, come on, you son of a bitch. This total opened up at 51.5 and is dropping. There's 50s on the board. There's a 49.5 on the board. We have 4,892 tickets in. 51% of the tickets on Toledo, 57% of the cash on Toledo. Then you have 30% of tickets on the under and 73% of cash on the under. Matty Ice says we will be at the Glass Bowl next year. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. He says your liver is going to hate me in 2022. Don't worry. My liver loves it. My liver loves the syrup. Battle of I-75. Toledo coming off a 52-49 loss at home versus Eastern Michigan is 9.5-point favorites. Toledo put up 672 yards of offense against Eastern Michigan. 672 yards of offense and lost. And they only allowed 490 yards. Redshirt freshman quarterback DeQuan Finn was 30 of 45 for 461 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he had 2 costly turnovers. He had 9 different receivers. This guy looks good. Brian Koback, we know what he can do. He gashed the Eagles for 180 yards, 2 touchdowns on just 15 carries, 12 yards per carry. This Bowling Green defense is 7th in the conference against the run. They allow 194 yards per game. Buffalo just went for 222 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground against the Falcons 2 weeks ago. Bowling Green won that game. They won that game 56-44 at Buffalo as 13.5-point dogs. The 56 points were the most in a game in almost 6 years for the Falcons. They were averaging less than 20 points a game before that 56-point explosion. And we saw what Buffalo is made of last night when they got their shit pushed in. So what do you do with the 56-point explosion against Buffalo? This Dutch boy fresh in the house. The Falcons are last in the conference with just 95 rushing yards per game. But, and there's a big but, and it's key to this, if you trust the 56-point explosion, is that Terrion Stewart is coming off a game where he put up 170 yards, 2 touchdowns on 11 carries. Matt McDonald was 13 and 19 for 263 yards and 4 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions on the year. Bowling Green's giving up 376 yards and 31 points a game. And Toledo, their defense. So this is the two big questions you have to ask yourself when capping the game. Do you believe the 56-point explosion from the Falcons? And do you believe that Toledo's defense that just allowed 52 points to Eastern Michigan is as bad as they looked? Because they ranked first in the MAC in scoring defense, allowing 22 points per game, and second in total defense, allowing 345 yards per game. Okay. D from Detroit, what up, man? Great to see you. We need all of our Michigan cappers in the house. Great to see you. So those are the two big questions. Those are the two big questions when capping this game. You have an angry Toledo squad that needs wins to become bowl eligible. You have Bowling Green Falcons, who played well this year, coming off a huge 56-point win. And it's perfect time, D, because these teams want to end up in Detroit for the MAC championship. Well, Bowling Green's not going to get a chance to do that. But what the hell do you do with Toledo? Is it a smash spot for Toledo against a Bowling Green team that's playing better and better? Or do you just not trust what happened against Buffalo because they're terrible? So you have a nice night here, and the market moving towards the under, which surprises me. It really surprises me. Let's go back here. We have 30% of the tickets on the under and 73% of cash. Clearly, sharps are on the under. Man Bear Pig is leaning towards Bowling Green at plus 10.5. 672 yards they put up on EMU. So we know that DeQuan Finn and Brian Koback are going to get theirs. How improved is this? And Mike M is taking the under 50 here. Seems like that's where the sharp money lies. And then if that's the case, then they're saying that Toledo's defense, which couldn't shut down Eastern Michigan at all, is going to shut down Bowling Green. God. And Terrion Stewart, we know, can run now. And Matt McDonald only threw 19 passes for 263 yards in that win over Buffalo. So maybe Bowling Green does get shut down. This is a huge game for Toledo. All right. God, MACtion is hard, dude. Mike M is taking the under. Maybe that's what I should do too. Big Smooth in the house. Thank you for rolling with us. I appreciate you being here, and you guys inspire me to cap the shit out of these cards. Mike M says, I don't think we see a lot of Bowling Green points tonight. I might lock the team total under in 2. You know, I was thinking that. When you were saying that. Let's move over to what that team total would be here very quickly before we move on to the next game. Still no move for me at this spot. 17.5 points for Bowling Green. Jesus. Okay. Under or team total under? Fuck, man. Okay. I cannot leave this card without action, but I'm not going to force anything. Let's move on to the next spot on the card. 7 p.m. Eastern. Ball State Cardinals 5-4, 3-2 in the MAC at Northern Illinois. Huskies 6-3, 4-1 in the MAC. Husky Stadium in DeKalb, Illinois. And Billy Friedrich says got killed with the MAC overs last week. Can't bet unders on them. And John Garcia says these hum and haw games are a pass. Mr. Gokster on Dallas regulation. Thank God. Thank God you gave us that first period under 1.5. For I might not have shown up today. 48 hours before in-out day with my local, and God damn it, I need that shit. Yes, I'm on Dallas, but I'm on Dallas on the -1 line, but I get the regulation look. Okay, let's move on to Ball State, Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois opening up as 2.5-point home dogs, and there's been no movement. This total opened up at 62.5. There's been movement there. It's now down to 60.5. And look, we just deal with this situation where the sharps seem to always be on the unders in these midweek MACtion games when they seem to soar over so often, but not here. although there is a little bit of sharp money on it. 4,678 tickets in. 52% of the tickets, 74% of the cash on NIU. Then you have 37% of the tickets and 47% of the cash on the under. Let's go. We're in DeKalb, Illinois. So this is the lone game where it looks like weather could be an issue. Yes, Rocky Lombardi is playing, as far as I know, Austin Hill, and that's a huge deal. So if anybody can type into their computer right now and make sure, but everything I've got, Rocky Lombardi is good to go. 52 Fahrenheit, showers, 14 miles per hour. Now, there's only showers for a short amount of time here. So I would like to see if it's still the same, because whenever there's showers for like 2 or 3 hours in the night and it's supposed to fall on the game time, I get nervous that I'm going to say that and it's not going to be the case. So let's go to DeKalb, Illinois weather and get one last look at this. So at 6 p.m., it's just cloudy with 24% precipitation, and there's no more showers. God, I'm so thankful that God. The last thing I want to do is tell you guys there's going to be showers in the game that would dictate movement on the total, and it not being the case. Noli knows that showers means light rain. Well, now there's none expected. Huskies lead the West Division at 4-1 in conference play, but the Cardinals are a game behind at 3-2 and can take control of first place because of the tiebreaker if they win. Ball State coming off a 31-25 win at Akron as 20-point favorites. It was strange. It was strange. It was a strange game. But Drew Plitt can be trusted. 14 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 1,776 yards. Love to hear what your looks are in these games, Noli. Ball State is limiting teams to just 3.7 yards per carry. That's third in the MAC and third in the MAC in the fewest rushing yards allowed. Northern Illinois suffered its first defeat in conference play yesterday, dropping a 52-47 shootout loss at Kent State. Northern Illinois had their 5-game winning streak snapped. They were 3.5-point dogs. They posted season highs in yards at 663 and points at 47. Rocky Lombardi set a school record with 532 passing yards, 33 of 57 with 3 touchdowns. It was their first defeat in conference play. And in all honesty, I don't know. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Michael Robertson. DeKalb, thank you. I need look, that's going to happen at times. You Falconer. Thank you, Michael Robertson. And I'm just not sold on NIU. I'm just not sold on NIU. And the last thing I kind of want to do is be sitting here with Ball State. It's the last thing I want to do is be sitting on a short road favorite. But do you believe that Rocky Lombardi is going to be able to do that again against a much stronger defense? And Northern Illinois secondary has allowed 300 passing yards in each of its last 2 games, and they have only 11 sacks. But then what do you do with what Ball State did last week? John Garcia says MAC is no place for unders. So back to this spot for NIU. Their defense allowed 7.04 yards per play against Central Michigan on October 23rd and 9.1 yards per play against Kent State. And if we think that NIU is not quite as good as their record indicates, do you have the balls to take Ball State here on the road? Let's go back to where the cash lies in this spot. It's 53% of tickets, 74% of cash on NIU. Look, God, I want to make a bet so bad, but it's money. Where is the angle that you can trust here? That we bet against what we saw last week and that Ball State is actually much better than that 31-25 win at Akron? Or we don't believe what we saw from Rocky Lombardi against Kent State's defense? Fuck, man. This is just so fucking hard, dude. All right, let's move on to Kent State. Golden Flashes at Central Michigan, Chippewa. So I don't just sit here and hum and haw. We're at Mount Pleasant, Michigan. 43 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 4 miles per hour. Kent State opened up as 3-point dogs. They're now 2.5-point dogs. This total opened up at 72. It shot up to either 75 or 75.5. And here we have another spot where 71% of the tickets, 67% of the cash are on Central Michigan. I meant another spot because of the total. Only 41% of tickets are on the under, but 88% of the cash is on the under, and yet this total goes up to 75.5. Man Bear Pig says, my gut says NIU. I'll probably take it later. No, that's not Smooth Ed. Big Smooth is not. But Big Smooth, much love, man. Much love. Kent Davies went under the 75.5. This is exactly what I did last Wednesday, and I went 0-2. But he says just too high. The problem is Kent State. They come in off their second straight victory, 52-47 at home over NIU as 3.5-point favorites. Look, it would not shock me if Kent State wins the MAC championship. If that's the case, shouldn't we have confidence taking them against Central Michigan? Kent State put up 682 yards in the win. That's the 7th highest yardage of any team in the FBS this season. They threw for 322 yards and rushed for 360 yards and 5 touchdowns. This actually, when I say that Kent State, the Kent State win over NIU is possible, or is possibly the MAC title game preview. Noli No says this is the only one I'm considering tonight. And Kent Davies also took the team total for Kent State under. So Kent State is just 1-4 on the road as well. Dustin Crum hasn't thrown an interception since week 1 at Texas A&M. Kent State this year has allowed 4,953 yards. That is second worst in the nation. Central Michigan comes in off a big 42-30 win at Western Michigan as 9-point dogs. Daniel Richardson, 15 passing touchdowns. He only had 1 last week, but it was Lou Nicholson III that looks so good. 1,082 yards leading the MAC. That's the 5th highest total in the FBS. Nichols followed up 192 yards and 2 touchdowns against Northern Illinois with 163 yards and 2 more touchdowns over Western Michigan. He's just rolling. Kevin Riley says Kent State +3 is the play. It's not available for me anymore. There's only the +2s. And Man Bear Pig says Central Michigan all day. And Robert Cherry is on the under. Kent Davies says the line at -2.5 is where it should be, therefore no bet. Okay, so Central Michigan has been stopping opponents on third down. That's what making them. They allow 32.1% of conversions on third down. And they've been such a good bet as a dog, and here they are again. So if they can stop Kent State on third down, then wouldn't the under be up for grabs? I mean, I guess that's what it comes down to. But I was on the under last week, and it was 7-0 after the first quarter. John Garcia said, I don't like hearing that road record. Amazing that Central Michigan has become favorites to Kent State. But we've seen what Kent State has done on the road. And so, they had lost their first 4 road games by an average of 27 points until they beat fucking Bobcats in Athens. I mean, Kent Davies says 75.5 is too high. It's too high if Central Michigan can get stops. Oh, God. Well, I have interest in the under 75.5, but we got to see how high this will go. And Billy Friedrich says, I see overtime in this one, over and nothing. You know what? I tell you what, it fucking pains me. It pains me to work so hard on these games and then sit here and say, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to fucking do. But look, this isn't just for fun. We need to win money. And do you see an edge? I mean, Kev Riley sees an edge, and he gives us a final score of 42-31 to Kent State. Is Kent State turning it on, right now when they have to in conference play to get to Detroit? Fuck, man. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And that's a legitimate. Is Central Michigan deserving to be the favorites right now just because of that shock win over Western Michigan? I wish I could have got that +3. I mean, Kent State is probably putting it together when it matters most, right? Lee Davis says, I got this total at 67.3. Well, that helps. That helps. So we should sit back and wait and see how high this total goes up. And then the only thing I would do here is I would have interest in taking Kent State money line. But then here we go back to where the sharps are. And actually there's a little bit of bigger bets on Kent State. Billy Friedrich says Kent State lost 64-31 at Western Michigan 3 weeks ago. Central Michigan won at Western Michigan last week. That's a very important point. But like John Garcia says, they might be turning it on right now. Ninja 13, I wish you were closer to me right now because I would hang my nutsack right above your chin, right on the bridge of your nose. And then I would take this part of my hand and I would open hand fucking smack you in the face. And then I would take a sharpened chopstick and just cut a little slit right here. Little slit. And then every time a little bit of blood would come out, I would point at you and I would laugh in your fucking face. Blow me. I'm capping here. Find another fucking show to watch. Working my fucking ass off, barely sleeping, capping these games for my friends and family to figure out what to do here. Ninja, you fucking dick sucker. Find another show to watch. All right. There is your MACtion on a Wednesday. Let's review action on this show right now. We will start with NHL. And we have a Jose Sehe play of the day on the Toronto Maple Leafs money line at -127. I've made 3 moves. 3 moves in NHL. I'm on the Leafs -1 at +120, Stars -1 at +110, and the Wild -1.5 at +125. And if I was going to add something, I do have interest in the over 5.5 in Nashville, Dallas. I have interest in that at +115. My uncomfort here, and I probably am going to stay off of it. And I say that because Dallas just allowed 6 goals to Vancouver. And I got to look down. I can't look up. And I think they're going to probably keep a real tight ship here. So then in NBA, I have interest in the Cavs and Raptors money line, but I would probably only bet it if I took both. I wouldn't. It would be one of those situations where, like if you were in Vegas and you wanted to make a couple big bets, you take them both on the money line. You win 1, you have profit. You win 2. You're calling people asshole for no reason. I also have interest in Orlando at +9. If all this money and all this cash is on the Nets, why is the line not moving? Roland G says, staying off the Dallas game, but Cleveland with the points. And we have a spreadsheet play today. If you keep the show going long enough, Ron Crawford will appear. If you keep the show going long enough, we're at 2 hours and 33 minutes. And so now Jose is on the Leafs. I'm on the Leafs. Ron Crawford's on the Leafs. Birdie's on the Leafs. And when I broke that game down, everybody was on the Flyers. Every single person was on the Flyers except for me and then Jose and now and Birdie and now. Okay, so there is Ron Crawford. So let's just quickly go back to the NBA here because we'll go over what I still find the Knicks appealing here in this spot against what I imagine would be a tired Bucks team. Wham is on the Pistons money line. He says that's going to be his best bet today, and I guess that's going to talk me off of the Rockets. If you think the Pistons are going to step up against the Rockets here, we talked about betting team total overs against any team playing against the Rockets. I do think the Bulls are getting disrespected here. It's crazy to see the Pelicans as a favorite. Wham's on the Grizzlies -4.5 and Desmond Bane over 13.5 points. I do not want to bet on the Spurs bouncing back here. I just can't put my money on it, but I'm not going to take the other side. And the Kings are 3-2 on the road, and they're showing a lot of heart. Is the over in play after a 5-point move towards the under in the Pacers-Nuggets game? Wham was close to moving on the Suns. We're going to have to wait. I am going to move on the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is another spot where we have all of the money on the – look at this. All of the money on the Warriors, and yet it's moved a half point towards the Timberwolves. 91% of the cash – the tickets, 96% of the cash. Is that still – I mean, if that's still sitting at 7, I mean, that's just crazy to me. They're begging for Warriors cash. Why would that be? So we go back there right now, and then if that's the case, maybe I should wait. For sure, says Cat +7. Roland G says take the Warriors -7. Look, Roland G, I don't think that unless I have a huge feeling on something, I would never be on a play that 96% of the cash is on and the market's moving against them ever. And then Wham's on the Heat -4. And then NCAA basketball, Max is on Wake Forest, first half -8, full game -15. The under 136 in Maryland Eastern Shore Temple, North Florida +17.5. The over 143.5 in Alabama State Vanderbilt, under 144.5 in Northwestern Tulsa, over 148 -110 in Coppin State DePaul. Coppin first half +14.5. And the taint play of the day is Northern Colorado. And at this point, the only spot we may move on, at least I may move on in Kent State, Central Michigan under 75.5. And I actually have interest in Kent State money line. I think they're turning it on at the right time. So Jared TG says I'm interested in Knicks as well. I know there's an angle on that game somewhere. Going to listen at 4 p.m. See if that helps me decide. All right. There he is. It's been a battle today. I'm suffering from an enormous lack of sleep, trying to cap all these sports. Our NFL shows up. It was done last night. The horse racing show's tonight, so when am I going to get any sleep? I'm not going to get him, Jason. I'm just not going to get him. And when I don't sleep, I get a little more emotional. Maybe you saw that today. We have nothing without you guys supporting the show. Thank you so much for everything that you do, truly. And it means the world. And you guys inspire me. And I may whine a little bit around this time of year. My wife's sick. I've got extra duties around the house. My 8-month-old's sick. Ella's got to get to school, get picked up at school. It's a fucking battle. But I am inspired getting the opportunity to work with you. So thank you for everything. On behalf of Jason, myself, and everybody at Pub Sports Radio, let's get that fucking cash before I lose my shit. Leche. Hey, those bookmakers!